Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Evening and welcome to the Precision Racing League GT3 series here at Spa. We have come to arguably the most iconic race circuit in sports car racing here tonight for round 6 of this great championship. Situated of course in the Ardennes Mountains in Belgium, we enter the second half of this season today with both championships very much far from over. Fixed series race coming up Thursday, 35 minutes as always at this beautiful Spa circuit. My name is Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside Joey Tebben once again here tonight for the GT3 Racing. Joey, it's fair to say everybody's going to know their way around here pretty well, not least because of last weekend's 24-hour race, but of course this circuit so well used in all iRacing series, everybody is going to be very well accustomed to where we're racing today.
It's possibly the most iconic road course in the world, so even if drivers weren't participating in the 24-hour event a little bit earlier this weekend, they still know Spa. Everybody's done laps around Spa. Everybody wants to drive Spa in real life and virtually, so this is going to be one of the most comfortable locations of all season for these drivers to take on.
It will indeed. There's some uncomfortable ones, as you can see here, coming up Sandown next week, which is going to be difficult for some. One of the new circuits, of course, or newer additions to iRacing, before we'll be ending off with three very well known and iconic circuits of the Hungaroring, Suzuka and Nürburgring. There's going to be 3 fantastic races to end things off, I am sure, but everybody will be worried about that Sandown race that we've been talking about, but I'm very much looking forward to it, to have a new circuit here on iRacing and see it used in the GT3 series here at the Precision Racing League. Let's take a look as well at the standings going into the fixed series race. Only 16 points separate Danik van Dale and Alec Bergstrom, but it was Fred Galini in 5th, who won last time out at Montreal. He is at the moment 42 points adrift of Danik van Dale, and he's at the top of the practice session at the moment, so clearly in a good bit of form for Galini at the moment.
Great bit of form for Galini at the moment. He finally got his first win last week at Montreal, close enough to his home race from upstate New York, and now he's looking to go on a tear. But the first half of the season, it was all Danik van Dale except for 2 critical races. Last week, he only finished 5th, so could this be a sign that his championship is crumbling, or is he going to turn it back up here in the second half? We'll have to see.
Yeah, top 5 is still not a bad result by any stretch of the imagination, so we can't be too harsh on him here for that one. Very much going to go into qualifying as well here very shortly, by the way, but not before a quick look at the team standings. Yellow Stripe Motorsports leading Team Beef at the moment by a whopping 85 points. Advanced Sim Racing not too far behind, and there you can see all the others down on your screen at the moment in the Teams Championship. Of course, we'll do the same as we preview the Open Series a little bit later on, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. 35-minute race here coming up in the Fixed Series though first. But before we go any further and before we truly get into qualifying, it's time to tell you a little bit about those who make this broadcast possible. Of course, VCO bringing us the coverage and broadcast partner here at RaceSpotTV, helping us bring you every Precision Racing League event here in 2022 Season 3 edition. It's very good to have them on board for this particular event and all the others here at Precision Racing League as well. And of course, we're joined by Advanced Sim Racing, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. Bookkicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driving seat. And finally, Ninja Trader, ready to compete against the financial markets. Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, Ninja Trader provides an award-winning trading software and brokerage services. Ninja Trader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. A big thank you to all of those guys for making this broadcast possible, and everybody at RaceSpotTV, of course, for making it easy to, well, I don't say easy for people behind the scenes, but it makes our job look easy and it makes us look good. So thanks very much to all of those guys for helping us along with bringing you RaceSpotTV's coverage here of the Precision Racing League, not least the GT3 Fixed Series, here for the Precision Racing League. And we're in qualifying right now, 6 minutes or so to go. We're just on the first flying laps for these drivers at the moment. It's a long lap around here, Joey, so the 4-lap limit will not be much of a limit here today because they won't be able to do that amount of laps anyway.
You won't be able to do all 4 laps with a warm-up lap, so you need to leave the pits instantly and get your laps in as quickly as possible. For some drivers, the 4th lap has actually been the best one. You're on the lowest fuel, your tires are sufficiently ready to attack the track, but you do not have time. You don't have that much time, rather, to get into that optimal window. So you need to get out and go instantly. Fred Galini's done that. He was quick in practice in more or less the same conditions, so it'll be no surprise to see him put it up at the top of the timesheets. But he's the first car on track right now, so he's going to set really the benchmark here.
He certainly is. Let's see how he's looking through Stavolo and the curb pull threats. He actually didn't leave the pit lane very early at all there.
Well, he's definitely not the first.
No, certainly not. Eric Luke was one of the first, and he's still yet to be toppled with a low 16 there for Luke. Where has he found himself in the standings now? He's still really quite far down. He's still 26th compared to the actual pace that he has. I know he's not started the last 2 races, but even so, the pace that he has really should see him higher up than that. It's just not really been his season. Let's see what Fred Galini can do here, though. We've seen him going on in the final sector or so of this lap, and he's been going pretty well, and he'll have 2 more attempts as well after this to go again. He comes over the line. Will he repeat that practice performance? Oh, yes, he does. He's the first man into the 15s, and he's over a quarter of a second ahead of the field.
Fred Galini has clearly found something here at Spa and in that Audi. Remember a couple weeks ago, he switched into the Audi. He took a 20-point penalty for switching out of his previous car, switching into the Audi. He thought it was his preferred car. It really worked out for him in Montreal. He has that 20-point penalty. He's, about 60 points back in the championship right now, but if he can keep this pace up, he is going to 100% make up that penalty and he could put himself in the championship fight here, but he's got to keep winning, and right now it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the problem is the point system doesn't allow you to gain too many points with each round. Even though Danik van der Leer, for example, only finished 5th compared to Galini last round, he only lost 12 points. And when you're considering, 40 to 50, 60 point margins at the halfway stage, it's going to be very, very difficult for the likes of Galini to really get involved. But guys like Alec Bergstrom and Adam Brockway certainly have a big chance. And you can see Bergstrom there trying to take his chance by going into 3rd at the moment. Can't see where Danik van der Leer has found himself in this session. I can't see him in the session. Oh, he's 7th. There we are. I just couldn't read. There we are. He's in 7th position right now. So not doing too badly. But if Bergstrom keeps chipping away and keeps clipping off a point here or there, then Danik van der Leer is going to have some thinking to do going into these final few rounds.
Eric Luke crosses the line here. He had the top of the timesheets, but that was an out lap there. Eric Luke, very interestingly, he chose to come back to the pits after his first lap, so he's going for 2 separate runs here. We'll see if he can pick up those 3.5 tenths on this lap, but Eric Luke has had speed all season, but like you said, he's down there in the 20s in the championship, and that's because he's just had no luck whatsoever this season. Whether it's been his own fault, whether it's been another driver getting into an accident with him, Eric Luke has not really ever finished where he should. He should be much, much higher in the championship, but he's not been able to finish the races. This is the week to turn it around, though, and putting yourself up front is the easiest way to survive.
Absolutely, he does often do this in the qualifying sessions particularly. Not yet got a top 5 in this season, which just illustrates how badly it's been going as far as he is concerned, especially compared to, as we say, where he is meant to be, in inverted commas. Of course, it always doesn't work like that. However, if it did, Eric Luke would certainly be right up there. He's certainly trying to improve just at the moment, although, over a 1/3 of a second here is going to be very difficult to actually pass Fred Galini, who I think is going to get another chance himself at going out here. He's going to be one of the final drivers to actually cross the line. But I still can't see him being toppled here, really. Nobody is really showing that true pace to really challenge him.
And it's really interesting to see kind of the jumbling of the top 10 here. And I think this goes to show how much experience some of these drivers have at Spa. Maybe some of the drivers who were participating this weekend in some of the splits of the 24 hours of Spa on Saturday. Some of them have 24 hours of it, or well, about 6 or 8 hours of experience probably when it comes down to it. But still, that's a lot of practice here. That's a lot of laps run. It's basically muscle memory to drive around here. And some of the other drivers who maybe weren't practicing last weekend, or they haven't driven Spa in a while, or their only practice was in the practice session in this session, they might be a little bit rusty, and that might be why the top 10's kind of jumbled up here.
I think muscle memory is a great way of describing it, really, and you do get like that for a 24-hour race, even though, as you say, you may only be driving 6 or 8 hours or less, maybe more, but probably likely less than that, depending on how many drivers you had. But even at that kind of hours, you will begin to almost get that muscle memory, as you say, and just know your way around, be able to feel your way around. Eric Luke, by the way, has just gotten a little bit closer to Galini, but he hasn't been able to topple him there. He does get into the 215s at least, however, he won't go any further than that. He's 2 tenths adrift. Bergstrom won't improve here, neither will Tarafino. Both of those inside the top 5. We're still maybe looking at an improvement for Espinosa and Duhamel. Certainly off of Danik van der Leer here. This is looking nice and clean, and of course the Mercedes was the car to pick last weekend at the 24-hour, but will it be the car to pick over a only 35-minute race? Well, it's an improvement here for Danik van der Leer. He moves up to 5th, despite that only being a few hundredths of a second. That is an improvement for Danik van der Leer, and he'll be very pleased about that, just setting himself a little bit closer to his championship rival Alec Bergstrom, and Adam Brockway being put further into the rearview mirror there, down in 9th position. But of course it can all change throughout this race, despite the fact it's only 35 minutes. There's a pit stop to come, and it can very well change very, very quickly indeed. Let's have a look then at the starting grid before we truly get underway for 35 minutes of racing here at the world-famous Spa-Francorchamps. There's going to be Fred Galini on the pole alongside Eric Luke, with championship contender Alec Bergstrom starting directly ahead of Danik van der Leer. On the other side of the grid, it's going to be Espinosa being reared by Michael Tarafino to round out your top 6. In that 7th place, it's going to be Sean Duhamel Hamill alongside Eric Dubé. Then it's Adam Brockway and Andre Bonatti rounding out your top 10. Baron Glover and Roy Brown will share the 6th row, whereas in the unlucky 13th position, it's going to be Rodrigo Morales. We'll see how unlucky it is for him. Dale Pedersen will be 14th ahead of Brendan Victor, rounding out the top 15. Sean Carmody in the 40 will be alongside him with Dave Peterson in 17th and Andrew Ellis in 18th. On the 10th row of the grid, it is going to be Carl Streichart and Joey Haynes. Don Bowden will be alongside them, alongside Blake Ziti. There's going to be Ryan Chandler and Patrick Calgo on the next row. This grid only just halfway down, by the way. Mark Farrell will be next ahead of the number 1 of Baron Hilton. Glenn Vanko will be alongside Jean-Francois Champagne on the 14th row, with Ryan Luna and Donald Olsen rounding out your top 30. Regan Chandler just outside of it alongside Spencer Semkowicz. Mark Bray 33rd ahead of Matthew Gagnon. Then it's going to be Jim Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoskins. David Boucher is in 31st ahead of Charles Sumner. Guillaume Huard, Dan Fendick and Philippe Winkler will be rounding out your 41 car grid. It is absolutely massive once again. These grids in the GT3 series have been so good and so entertaining. What a field we've assembled once again, and we're set for a great race.
Take a breath, you, and take a drink of water. 41 cars, as big of a field as we've seen all season, and I have a feeling it's only going to be bigger in the sprint race coming up next. And just one update, Joey Haynes in the field. You heard his name. This is his first race of the season. So top half of the field, first qualifying of the season. It's good so far for Haynes, but he's got to survive.
It's a great start, a great way to get your debut underway for him. Let's see how the real frontrunners do and how we get underway here for what is going to be a frantic 35 minutes here in the Ardennes Mountains. It's going to be Fred Galini in control of the field. Eric Luke looking to get the jump on him, of course, as they run down towards La Source. We're going to wait, of course, for everybody to get going. Everybody just a little bit anxious. You can see the long wait as we use the Grand Prix and Endurance pits, of course, for such a large grid. We finally get going out of La Source. Fred Galini using the classic tactic of going immediately. Eric Luke knew it was coming, but there's not a lot you can do on the outside line there. They all slot into single file in the top 6 or so, and in the background as well. The field a little bit spread out, but that's exactly what Galini wanted with this start coming down towards Eau Rouge over the top in Radion. He doesn't want to be eaten alive on the Kemmel Straight by everybody in this field, but he doesn't really have much choice. Eric Luke's on the outside of him at the moment, trying to go through into Lecom. He can't do it, and so it looks like Espinosa's going to try and take advantage. Inside at Malmedy, it's difficult, stuck up on the curb there. They nearly rub panels. They're still side by side, but Eric Luke is going to try and hold on the outside. He does into Bruxelles, so Espinosa is denied making 2 places on the first lap.
Espinosa not quite able to make the move, though, but what a start for Andres Espinosa. This has probably been his best race of the season already, easily his best qualifying position of the season, if I remember correctly, as we're going to go side by side through Pouhon back there. That's always tight, especially on lap 1. Looks like Roy Brown is chasing down here Adam Brockway and Andre Bonatti. Bonatti's got the inside here, but that BMW way later on the brakes. Great job by Adam Brockway to go around the outside there.
Brockway, one of the top 3 in the championship to have made positions on that opening lap with 1. Danik Van Delle's also made 1, but Alec Bergstrom has dropped down 2 places, I'm afraid. There he is in the Mercedes, following on that purple and black Mercedes just in front. That is Danik Van Delle leading this championship, and Bergstrom needs to take points from him at every opportunity. At the moment, we'll be just losing those right now. The pole position point, at least, is out of the question for those two, because that's already gone to Galini, and he's already running away just a little bit as Van Delle goes defensive into the bus stop. Or was it a half attack on the Espinosa car just up in front? Not entirely sure. But as there's contact in the background, Brockway goes around. It's Brockway in the BMW as we get a replay further back into the campus chicane. Just a quick spin for one of the Mercedes and just about snags the wall, but it's all kicked off in the background because of that spin at the bus stop chicane.
And that's disastrous for Adam Brockway. Championship-wise, he has 32 minutes to make up for it. We saw him have a great comeback in the GT4 series, but he is going to be finishing very deep in the field. Let's see what happened. Oh, it happened way further back. That's Roy Brown who gets punted up the back. And then Adam Brockway just absolutely nowhere to go. Sean Duhamel got caught up in that as well. That is just an unfortunate situation, but that's what can happen on the opening laps when you've got 41 cars. All of them have slightly different braking distances, and somebody's going to meet in the middle, as there goes Danik Van Daly for third.
Danik Van Daly goes up the inside, and so does Eric Dubé, but Van Daly is not able to do it. The Ferrari, though, might well be able to. Round the outside for Bergstrom, and he's going to hold on into Bruxelles, and here comes Glover on the outside. Sorry, that's Eric Dubé on Terrafino, who's trying to make the move, excuse me. Dubé is trying to make this move. It's in an all-Ferrari battle at no-name corner. Oh, a squeeze from Terrafino. The commitment and the trust he placed in his fellow Ferrari driver there was absolutely total, but in the end it did pay off. He holds on to 6th place, and this fight for third is getting very populated now, with Eric Lucan Fregolini running away. Espinosa has got his rearview mirrors full now.
It's an Espinosa train right now, and these Ferraris look very, very hungry. That was very, very close quarters. They're lucky the internet didn't come back and bite him there, but Danik Van Daly's hungry. He wants to get away from his championship rival. Michael Terrafino is currently quietly in the top 5 or 6 in the championship as well, so he wants to pick up the pieces if those two come together. And Andres Espinosa wants to defend his best result of the season here, so everybody's got their own intentions here. Hopefully they don't meet in the middle like they did with Roy Brown and the BMW of Adam Brockway a little bit earlier, but this is one of the best braking zones in the track. Danik Van Daly's been aggressive. He's going to go to the outside of Andres Espinosa. He's so late on the brakes, but unfortunately he's going to wash out too much, and he's going to lose out.
Way too late on the brakes that time, and Bergstrom's going to fancy his chances. He tried to get the cut back, but it's always difficult to do that when there's cars so close behind you, in the form of Michael Terrafino. And there you can see the Team B Ferrari just in behind right now. That's wide a little bit from Van Daly. He misses the apex at La Source, and here comes Bergstrom. Now, was there a bit of contact there? Was it Van Daly just running wide on his own, or was there that little bit of contact with Bergstrom? Let's see. But they're side by side up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. The two championship rivals, the top two in the championship, going side by side through arguably the most iconic section of corners in all of motorsport, and they come out on the right side of it in the end. Terrafino almost has nowhere to go here. He's stuck right up behind the back of the 66 at the moment, and Eric Dubé is going to try and take advantage of this on the outside of Lecombe. He won't be able to, and the two Ferraris engage in a battle of their own, with Terrafino ending up off the road and into the wall.
Terrafino was actually helping Bergstrom out a little bit there. He was bump drafting him down the Kemmel straight, and he just gets washed out into the grass, and you can save it out there, but Terrafino unable to, and unfortunately there is a very awkward wall there, and that's going to be huge damage for probably the most consistent driver in this series. That's the first time I've seen him have any sort of incident, and it's got disastrous consequences. He's down in 39th now.
Yeah, he has been remarkably consistent so far. The gap between his lowest point score and his highest point score is only 5, and he's been in the 20s in terms of point scoring every time. That means you're comfortably inside the top 10, as there it is. Oh, so disappointing for Terrafino, because as he says, in such a good run. He's not finished outside of the top 10 all season. He's finished in the top 5 on a good few occasions as well, at least 2 or 3 times. And this is not going to be the day for him today, I'm afraid. And Team Beef are going to lose out on a lot of points as well, because Roy Brown was the car that got served earlier, although actually he's recovered quite well. He's still running 7th, but either way, Team Beef need to start gaining points on the likes of Yellow Stripe Motorsports, and at the moment both of the Yellow Stripe cars, or at least Bergstrom is, gaining points on them both at the moment, so it's a bit of a damaging day for Team Beef, unfortunately.
3 completely different braking distances between these 3 Mercedes into the bus stop there, between Espinosa, Van Daly, and Bergstrom. Every single one of them braked at a completely different place, and somehow nothing changed even when they did that. Danik Van Daly wasn't able to be late enough to make the dive around the outside again on Espinosa. Bergstrom wasn't late enough to get to the inside of Danik Van Daly, and Eric Dubé is very happy that they're staying in line and slowing each other down here, because he's caught back up to this train. But it's a big gap for Espinosa here. It's too big for Danik Van Daly to catch him by the time we get to Lecombe, so this is great for Espinosa. If Danik Van Daly and Alec Bergstrom start fighting, which they 100% are right here, this is great for Andres to be able to keep that 3rd place.
It is certainly helping him. Here comes Bergstrom, inside line at Lecombe. He's going to have to be late on the brakes, but Van Daly was later Oh, he's got the outside line as well, and he holds on to the place. That was great defending from the driver of the number 11, and he's going to hold on to 4th place. But you're exactly right. Espinosa is going to be loving it because he's just getting that little bit of breathing room. Eric Dubé is going to be a bit of a fan of it as well because he can just gain that little bit of time on the 2 Mercedes in front. All of this is allowing Fred Galini and Eric Luke to get away. The gap at the moment between them is hovering between half a second and 3/4 of a second as things stand. No real battle commencing, but judging by the qualifying times, you'd expect Galini to run away with it. Eric Luke is not letting that happen.
No, Luke has actually been faster with every lap, but unfortunately, he's just not quite quick enough to close up all the way to the back like these two Mercedes are. These two Mercedes are matched equally, and here's Eric Luke. You can see that gap down to about 0.6 of a second. Last lap he was faster, but he was only faster by 60 thousandths of a second, which isn't really meaningful. But if he keeps chipping away, if he keeps getting a 10th closer, a 10th closer, a 10th closer, we will well and truly have a battle, a Mercedes versus Audi battle. Who would have predicted that up front? He's just got to keep the pace up, keep the consistency up, and he's in for his best result of the season, no matter if he gets the lead or not. But he's going to want the lead. He's got ground to make up.
He will certainly want the lead. Galini will want to go 2 in a row as well. It was a full 38 points for him last time out at Montreal. That is the victory, the pole position, the fastest lap, and indeed, I think it's not getting, I can't remember quite the amount of incident points, but not getting a certain amount of incident points in the first half of the race also.
2 or less.
Yeah, there we are, 2 or less, thank you, for the first half of the race, and he did that, so gets the extra bonus point as well for that, and the full 38 went to him on that occasion. Going to look to try and do it again, but Eric Luke is going to really hound him here. A nice run through Eau Rouge and Radion. This is the best opportunity he's had all day long, although...
Save fuel, though.
Yeah, so I was wondering whether it was a saving fuel measure or whether he just didn't want to go through just yet. Meanwhile, Danik Van Dale certainly does. He's got great straight line speed. That Mercedes clearly has taken a bit of wing out here. He's going to brake very late. Espinosa's going to gain a bit, but then lose some in the second part, but he'll be on the inside for Malmedy. So will he be able to finally complete it? Well, not quite. He's still got the inside line, but Danik Van Dale has the nose in front at the moment and might have the position here. It's another really late on the brakes moment for the championship leader. The two nearly make contact, and into no-name corner, Danik Van Dale is going to stamp his authority on this 3rd place, and he will go through. Alec Bergstrom will try and follow through. Here comes Espinosa up the inside of Pouon. My goodness, you never see moves through there, and Danik Van Dale made sure that record stayed constant, and here comes Bergstrom now once again with Espinosa losing momentum. Bergstrom's going to want a piece of it. He sews the nose down the inside. Espinosa breaks himself, and so both of 1 and 2 in the championship go through.
I think exactly what Espinosa was trying to do to the number 11 of Danik Van Dale, he ended up having done to himself. He was trying to spook Danik off there by just peeking to the inside of Pouon. I don't think that was a legitimate overtake attempt. He was just trying to scare him and then take that spot. But then down into Fania, he just had the same thing done to him by Alec Bergstrom, and he got in his own head. He almost threw it off the road, but he's fighting back here side by side through Blanchimont. That doesn't happen often, but they got away with it somehow. And Espinosa's going to hang on here. No, he's not. Again, Bergstrom later on the brakes. Is he going to stick to the inside? He still is. This is incredible battling. These guys have been side by side for literally a whole lap now.
And Bergstrom's going to lose out massively here. Espinosa gets through, and out Dubé now. Oh, very nearly makes 2 places. Espinosa weaving all over the place to try and defend at the moment. There's no space there for the Ferrari, but he tried it anyway to Eric Dubé, and there it is. Espinosa goes around. The 2 of them end up in a parking car park situation. There it is. The Mercedes still trying to get going again. He's well outside the top 15, and there it is for Espinosa. He was on course for his best result of the season so far. He's scored so few points so far this season that it still might be. However, he will be bitterly disappointed with the way this one ended.
And you don't like to see incidents happen, but I could kind of see that one coming. The way he blocked all the way down there. Eric Dubé just takes a peek to the inside, just like I think Max Verstappen did in the F1 race at about 2016, and just causes the incident. Did not have a nose in there, but you can completely understand why he decided to do that after that late block by Espinosa, and hard racing. It ended in tears for both of them.
Absolutely. I mean, the blocking and the weaving down the straight there from Espinosa was certainly regrettable, but you still can't dive down the inside. It's such a narrow and such a difficult get. Well, you can definitely make moves down the inside of La Source, but not like that, I'm afraid, for Eric Dubis. So he might land himself in a bit of trouble for that 16th position for the 887 at the moment, and unfortunately it spells the end of a fantastic battle, because that fight for third between the four of them, and of course Terrafino was there earlier as well. Unfortunately, all five of them have spread out now, including three of them going down the order due to an incident. You know, it's a real shame to see, but Danny Van Daly won't be complaining, because at the end of it all, he's ended up ahead of his main championship rival.
And now he's got completely clean air ahead of him to just look forward to that Galini-Luke battle. If those two do eventually start fighting, if Eric Luke stops sitting back and actually goes for the move, they're going to slow each other down, and it could very well be a three-way battle for the lead here in a matter of moments. But the battles haven't ended further back in the field. Look at this train a little bit further back for 11th and 12th. Andre Bonatti's been struggling a little bit in the later stages of this race, but the battle rages on here. This is an incredible battle, even for this deep in the train. I think I just saw our first pitter. That is Andre Bonatti. Andre Bonatti's the first guy to come down pit road.
Yeah, Bonatti going into the pit lane then. First pit caller. Certainly doesn't need to in terms of fuel just yet, but wants to get out of this train, and why wouldn't you? It is quite numerous at this stage, and will be slowing you down quite a lot, you would imagine. It all starts, by the way, with Sean Carmody in 7th place. You've got Dale Pedersen just behind him, and Andrew Ellis as well, all of them inside the top 10, and Joey Haynes on debut inside the top 10 in the 33. Great drive, and hats off to him just for the moment, but still has 20 minutes to go to execute what is going to be a great finish for the 33 driver. But here comes Dale Pedersen, outside line of Sean Carmody into Lecombe at the moment, late on the brakes for the Ferrari, and he's going to make that move through Lecombe. Very nicely done.
And Joey Haynes, of course, we have seen him in the PRL before. He actually has 6 wins, incredibly, but this is the first race for him this season. Halfway in, he's going to take on half the season in that number 33, and yeah, like you said, a great performance right now to be in the top 10, but he's going to want more. He's got wins in the PRL, and I'm sure if he does stick with us for the next 4 races, we're going to see even better things from Joey Haynes.
All of those coming in open wheel competition, by the way, in case you were wondering at home. But yeah, he's taking his craft to GT3s at the moment, and doing a very good job with it in the fixed series race we have here tonight. It's still Fred Galini versus Eric Luke at the front of the field, but the battles are happening further down. There's Eric Luke just concentrating, not exactly looking where he was going there briefly, just going offline, of course, ever so slightly, but he's playing the long game at the moment. He's using his head to win this race rather than his heart, because obviously his racing driver, part of his brain, will be wanting to have this fight with Galini. He'll want to kind of take this position off of the Audi driver in front on track, of course, but he knows also in the other part of his brain that actually it's a much better and easier way to actually overtake him in the pit stops by just saving that little bit of fuel now.
And we've seen so many races this season in the GT3 series, in the GT4 series, in the MX5 series, in so many PRL series. We've seen races decided by pit strategy, decided by those few extra tenths of a gallon or liter or whatever in the pits. That has decided so many of these races, and Eric Luke is definitely saving fuel behind Fred Galini. He's getting a great run. You can see it again here. He has incredible speed. He could go for the move if he wanted to, but if we rode on board with him, you'd probably hear a very, very big lift, maybe even a little bit of clutching, because he just shows no intent whatsoever in taking the lead here. And it's working for him. He's still sticking to the back of Galini. You have to be faster than the leader to actually pull something like this off. So the fact that he is still stuck behind Galini should be very scary for Galini once Eric finally turns the wick up.
It's side by side in the background. Meanwhile, Sean Carmody is continuing to go under pressure from a load of drivers. Andrew Ellis is next in the Porsche. Oh, inside line at the final part of Lecombe, and it's ended in disaster, I'm afraid. Carmody goes for a half spin. Ellis almost accidentally correcting him once again, and they both get on their way. But that was a very small margin for the Porsche to slip into, a slight bit of contact that made a big difference. And now his balance is all out of whack now for Carmody. You can be sure that is the result of the slight bit of damage that was picked up in that contact.
Yeah, has lost it mid-corner, probably a bit of suspension damage at the rear of that Audi, and that is very unfortunate for Sean Carmody. He was having a great race. Let's take a look here. Andrew Ellis just peeks to the inside, and no, the gap wasn't really there. You can only really make that move if you're completely alongside, and just like we saw earlier with Dubé and Espinoza, just a nose to the inside, not quite there, and at some of these high-speed corners, that's what happens. It ends in disaster.
Yeah, difficult to tell, but it did look a little bit like that. You know, the room wasn't given by Ellis on the inside, unfortunately, and got into the side of the Audi that went around. But the battle for these positions certainly hasn't got away. Well, it might not be for 7th place anymore, but now it's 10th on back. Victor is at the front of it, with Ellis trying to make amends on the outside into the bus stop. Inside for the second part, and Victor taking the rather smart decision, if less exciting maybe, but definitely smart decision to come into the pit lane with Joey Haynes and Peterson and ZT Espinoza, all of those guys leaving the two Porsches to fight it out between themselves. Andrew Ellis and Carl Streichart at the moment battling over what is 8th place, but it will all cycle itself out in the next 10 minutes or so when the pit stops really get underway. A lot of early stops today, it has to be said.
And I think that's just because everybody wants to get out of traffic. We're seeing so many of these little tandems, so many of these trains throughout the field that a lot of guys think it's just clearly worth it to bring it down pit road, get out of traffic. There is a window deeper in the field you can get out in. So clearly they think that this is the time to do it, and it's working right now, but we'll have to see how it all shakes out. Kyle Streichars around the outside. This is exactly where Andrew Ellis came into contact with Carmody last time around. He's a little bit further to the inside this time. Streichars gives him a lot more room than Carmody did as well, and they got through it too wide that time, but oh my goodness, what a dive bomb.
Have you ever seen anybody break that late at Bruxelles and still make the corner? That was outrageous from Andrew Ellis, but he makes his way down the inside, and he holds on to the place somehow. Streichars is not going to give this one up very easily, but he's been totally he'll be dumbfounded as to how that happened at Bruxelles. That was so late on the brakes from the 17, but he made it work. Didn't go clattering into the side of the number 7, and he's gotten away with it. He holds on to 8th place for now. The logical part, though, of your brain once again will be speaking and will be saying this is not the best idea when so many of your rivals have come in for a bit of an undercut and they'll be going quicker than you. It may be not the smartest thing to do. What is going to happen here in this group? Fred Gallini is going to come in. We're not at the limit in terms of fuel just yet, I wouldn't have thought. However, Fred Gallini wants to come in right now with just less than 15 minutes to go, and now it's the first time Eric Luke is going to see clear road in front of him all race.
And this is going to be qualifying speed for Eric Luke. He's going to be at full bore up there, the highest speed he can possibly pick up, because he wants to jump Fred Gallini. Whether he's saved more fuel, whether he's going to spend more time in the pit lane, he doesn't care. He wants to jump him in a pure overcut here. So this is going to be hopefully one of the best laps of Eric Luke's Spa career, because this is the race for the win now. It's not on track, it's in the pits, and now we just wait for how long Fred Gallini's going to be.
Absolutely. It's a great chance to see just how quickly Eric Luke can go around here, can go around Spa, because he's one of the few drivers, of course, we get to see in real life as well with the camera, and he will be working hard at the moment inside that Ferrari to just try and go as quickly as possible. I mean, it's difficult to know whether he should try and run this tank dry here and just go for the biggest undercut possible in terms of amount of laps, or whether he should really nail this lap and come in immediately, despite whether he has the fuel to go further or not.
If I was him, I'd be bringing it in instantly here. I want to minimize the variables that can lose me the lead. If he goes out for another lap, that might be another lap where he ends up making a mistake and losing a couple tenths and losing the lead again. So I want to drive the best possible lap here. I want to get back on pit road as quick as possible. It's an extremely long pit delta, over a minute. I want to get on pit road here, and I think we will see Eric Luke come down this time.
Well, let's see. We are, of course, presuming that Luke's pit stop will be quicker and his lane time and all of that will be quicker in laps, out laps. It's all to be factored in. 13.6 seconds was the pit stop there for Galini. That's the number that we'll be factoring in. And of course, the pit exit is something you have to factor in as well coming out of here, because it is fairly dangerous and you do have to pay attention when you're coming up through Radion, as so do they in the background there. Something going on the Kemmel Straight with cars in the grass, side by side. Meanwhile, up a little bit further up the order here, around 20th place or so. Very difficult to know who's where at this particular portion of the races. We certainly know where Eric Luke is. He's in the pit lane right now from the lead. Galini only dropped to 5th place during this pit stop cycle here. 13.6 seconds is the number we're looking at. If Eric Luke can go that little bit quicker, he might well have the lead here.
And now, basically, all we can do, all Eric Luke can do, is just sit for a full minute in the pit lane. It is just infuriatingly long. It's so slow, too. He's just sitting there right now at about 30 miles per hour, just hoping that he has jumped Fred Galini here. And you can see the clock ticking down. Eric Luke hasn't even made it into his pit stall yet. He will soon. And this is going to be crazy stuff. And on your screen right now, I do want to point out, in 22nd place, that's Adam Brockway. So if you want to know about Adam Brockway's charge back up through the field, actually in 22nd, the car with the 22 on it is not Adam Brockway, but in 22nd place right now is Adam Brockway. He's trying to continue his move through the field. There he is. There's Adam. It's higher than he was earlier in the race. He was about 40th, but he's still got a long way to go, and this is going to be disastrous if he finishes here in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done a decent recovery, but he's still scoring 9 points from here, whereas his team, his rivals, Danny Van Daly, might well be in the 30s in terms of points here. Eric Luke, meanwhile, leaves the pit lane. That was a shorter stop for him, 11.9. He saved 1.7 seconds in the box there. He will exit. There he goes. There are the headlights of the Audi in the background. Eric Luke has made the jump here, and he'll be making the run for home as well. Just over 10 minutes for him to bring this one home. Just under 2 seconds of a gap for him to hold on to ahead of Fred Galini. Now the Audi driver will really have the bit between his teeth, but will he be able to do anything about the 709 in front?
These are the spoils of Eric Luke's strategy. It's masterfully crafted by Eric, masterfully performed, and now he has the lead that he was fighting so hard for, and he has proven to be faster than Fred Galini on race pace just a little bit, so it's going to be tough to knock Eric Luke off, but the battles continue further back. Joey Haynes, again, still trying to make moves. He gets around the outside of Dave Peterson. Oh, he almost loses it like Terrafino did, but the green and black Mercedes of Joey Haynes is still making moves.
Yeah, Terrafino, by the way, out of this race for the first time this season. A real shame for one of the most consistent drivers in the order. Roy Brown has done a good job through the pit stops there for Team Beef, and he's got inside the top 5 at least. But Yellow Stripe with Bergstrom at least will be gaining points on the both of them, and we will see, we'll see Brockway gaining at least a few points here or there. And so Team Beef should, if things stay as they are, Team Beef will slip even further behind in the Teams Championship, I'm afraid, here in this season. This battle just outside the top 10 though. This is where the real close battles are. Inside the top 5 or so, it's quite spread out. Bergstrom is closing on Danik Van Daly, but it's nothing too drastic at the moment. This is the real fight. Joey Haynes has got Peterson and Benotti behind him.
Galini's off. Galini's off.
Galini. Into the bus stop chicane. I don't think anyone was around him, but it's an odd corner to have a moment on your own.
I think he might have clipped the grass on entry. That's what I can theorize under braking there, because if he just outbraked himself, there's a sea of asphalt out there. I have no idea what happened to Fred Galini. Hopefully we can take a look. It looks like Blake Ziti's in trouble as well. 8 minutes to go after half an hour. Everything's falling apart. Here's Fred Galini. No, didn't clip the grass at all. He just lost it, locked up the rears, spun it around, and then, oh, he had to wait for Danik Van Daly to come by, and 10 seconds for a simple spin like that. It's going to be so frustrating for Fred Galini, and now he's behind Danik Van Daly. He's going to lose even more points. 42 is going to grow to, what, 45?
45, 46, so if we're not factoring in the pole positions or the fastest laps just yet. By the way, the fastest lap, excuse me, if the fastest lap were and the race were to end right now, it would go to Eric Luke, so it would basically negate any effect on the championship. There is, by the way, no way of knowing, I don't believe anyway, no way of knowing how many incident points these guys have managed to collate throughout the race so far and whatever. So, oh dear me, has he got a big accident here involving Andrew Ellis and Bonatti as well? What has gone on here? It involved a lap car. Well, the BMW there was a lap car trying to get out the way, and all hell has broken loose on the exit of Les Combes there.
Disaster through Les Combes. We'll have to take a look at what I don't know if that was the 32nd placed BMW who is off out there in the background. It might have been Fendick, but let's take a look here. 32 gets out of the way, then that's Andre Bonatti in the Mercedes on the scene, and Dan Fendick did nothing wrong there, I think. Andre Bonatti just kind of understeered into him, took a little bit too much speed into the corner and dumped him.
Yeah, way too much speed, really. Should have been a bit more aware of the situation that was unfolding there, and really should have paid a bit more attention, you could argue. But there we go. Unfortunate for Andrew Ellis especially. He was an innocent bystander in that one, but he drops to 16th place now. Speaking of dropping places, Roy Brown has done so, because up the inside goes Baron Glover in the 93. Into the top 5 goes the Mercedes. That was a very impressive move. You don't often see dives like that made at Blanchimont. As you can see here, a much more conventional way of passing might be exercised here by Brendan Victor, although he will stay behind at least into the bus stop for now. Alec Bergstrom did exactly that on the last lap, by the way. He's right on the back of Danik Van Daele right now, wondering if he's going to make a move right now or whether he's just going to wait that little bit longer, because it's probably better if well, he might think anyway that it's probably better for me to wait just that little bit longer in this race at the moment, although he's going to go for it now. Outside line at Les Combes between the two championship rivals. Bergstrom hangs it round through the first pot. We'll get the inside for the second, and he'll hope to take the racing line at the third, but it's not quite worked out like that. He's going to have to take another sweeping line, but this time the position is his, and Alec Bergstrom is finally once again gaining points on his championship rival.
But the battle's not over. Danik Van Daele is not going away anytime soon, so this is going to be crazy. I believe it'll be 3 laps to go at the line, maybe 2, and the opportunities are running out for either of these guys to keep passing each other, but Danik Van Daele keeping the bumper right to Alec Bergstrom. Got to make him aware that I'm not going away. You're not going to run away just yet, and we'll see if Alec Bergstrom can handle the pressure here.
Yeah, let's see. It's going to be a great fight between the two of them. If we take the potential point they'll get for the incidents out of the equation, then it will either be 14 points or 18 coming out of today with 4 rounds to go. 14 obviously a lot more manageable than 18. Even 18 points at this stage for Bergstrom is not out of the question whatsoever that he can turn that around, but he wants to make his life as easy as possible coming into the final 4 rounds, of course, and so he'll pick up points wherever he can get him. And to be honest, Van Daele hasn't really displayed many weaknesses yet this season, and for him to show this little weakness here at Spa, where we've seen the likes of Eric Luke and Francolini comfortably quicker than him. Bergstrom looks like he's quicker than him right now as well. We haven't really seen that this season from Van Daele, so Bergstrom can't afford to let this opportunity slide.
Last week at Montreal was probably Danik's worst race of the season, which is remarkable to say because he finished 5th, so that's what's scary. We say he's having a bad race here in 3rd. He's in 3rd. He's on the podium. It's the making of a champion. We talk about how guys like Michael Terrafino and Roy Brown are consistent. Danik Van Daele is consistent, but he's consistently in the top 5. He's consistently winning races, and when he's not winning races, he's finishing 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th. So Danik Van Daele, I think, is going to need an absolute tragedy of a race in one of the upcoming weeks. He's going to need to finish in the 30s or the 40s while one of his championship rivals finishes up top to really swing things around. Bergstrom can take points away, he can chip away, but he really needs a big movement here to start to really put up a championship charge.
Roy Brown just getting into that battle with Baron Glover again, going up towards Les Combes there. That's the battle for 5th place. Glover looks like he's held on by the looks of things to that place. Well, it's not over. Roy Brown's on the outside of him still into the downhill right-hander at Bruxelles. Mercedes on the inside line, and Roy Brown won't be able to hang it all the way around that very long looping hairpin, so he's going to stay behind for the moment, and that will be it for Roy Brown on this lap at least. You'd expect at least until the bus stop, where he might just try again. But Bergstrom is just going to try and keep Van Daly at arm's length for the moment. Unsure as well as to how many laps we're going to have to go here. Could be 2 laps to go at the line. And it's a long lap around here. We're just about in the 2:17s for the most part. Unless you're Eric Luke, and then you're in the mid-16s. But I do think we're going to get another couple of laps out of this race. Unless Luke decides that he wants it to be over quite quickly. But he doesn't, I don't think.
He does have a margin. If he wants to end this race right now, he could do it.
Well,
in one lap.
Actually, it would be very close. He needs to lose about 7 seconds, and that's his lead, so he's not going to do that. And he's going to continue on for 2 more laps. And at this point, he'll actually just be able to enjoy it a little bit. It will begin to sink in for him just a little bit, and it will begin to become real for him that he might just be able to take this win home.
Yeah, he's absolutely enjoying this. He wants to drive. I mean, I don't think he wants to drive another 8 hours, but he is more than happy to drive another 2 full laps around Spa here. He's got a completely comfortable lead. He can drive at about 75% here and not even have to think about the drivers behind. So this is the perfect situation for Eric Luke right now. And in a season where nothing has gone perfectly for him, it's a feel-good story. You don't want to play favorites, but somebody needed a race to go well for him this season, and somebody was Eric Luke.
Absolutely. Here comes Danik Van Derley then. Is there going to be a move? Doesn't look like it up the road. There certainly is going to be here. Roy Brown's on the outside of Baron Glover again. The Ferrari might just have the legs here. Brown nearly got it done last time out, but is this moment going to be the one at the penultimate lap? Oh, he's off the road. He pushes too hard, but in the end, he slides up in front of the Mercedes and he gets his way through. But he's going to give the place back immediately. Not sure if he's got to slow down or whether he elected to do that himself. However, Glover will hold on to the place.
I think that was giving it back deliberately. Roy Brown, ever the sportsman, he knows he just threw it off the road there and then parked it on Baron's nose. So gave the position back very kindly, and he doesn't have to look behind. There's no worry behind him. Dale Peterson is the next car on track in 7th. He's about 4 seconds behind, so don't need to worry about him. Might as well just re-rack here. He'll have 1 more lap to take a shot at Baron Glover, but now he's got a little bit of a gap he's got to make up again before he can issue 1 final challenge.
Yeah, I think there might have been a slowdown there, because if he did elect to do that, then he would have stayed a lot closer to the Mercedes in my mind. However, he has not. He's clearly let the car lamps open right up there. So I don't think there was... Oh, sorry, I do think that there might have been a slowdown there for Brown. He drops outside the top 5. And Baron Glover looks like he might be able to get one himself. Hasn't had one yet this season. Best finish of 10th place. And that's the only top 10 this season. His second looks like it might well bring him a top 5, and this margin, these few car lengths, are certainly enough to keep Roy Brown at bay into the best overtaking opportunity on this lap, which is going to make Baron Glover feel very good about his chances of being in this position in 1 lap's time.
Let's watch here. Indolosaurus, can Roy Brown pick up anything here? Under braking there, he missed the apex. Baron Glover very, very wide, and then he almost drives it off the road in the runoff there. That's exactly what Roy Brown needed. He's going to be able to get a run here on the first part of the straight, and then up Eau Rouge and Radeon, then the Kevel straight. This is great for Roy Brown. Just that one small mistake is going to be multiplied here down the entirety of this straight. Roy Brown suddenly got another chance at it, but he's got to make sure he keeps it on the road this time.
Well, Glover there had a perfect opportunity to make Roy Brown's life very difficult, but in the end he's invited him back to the party. Brown on the outside line, much as he was last lap, but decides better of it on this occasion, maybe going for a bit of a crisscross and a better line. However, it's not really worked out that way at all, and the Mercedes stays in front of him very easily indeed. Brown is surely going to have to make this final dive at the bus stop chicane.
And he's got to wait quite a while for that. A few more corners. He's got to stick to the back of him through Pouhon here. Then Fagnes coming up. It's gonna be tough for Roy Brown, but he's got 1 more shot, and I know he's gonna take it.
He certainly is. Through Pouhon for the final time for these guys. Brown is just going to set himself up for that final move. Meanwhile, further up the road, Eric Luke is in a world of his own. He has let his foot off the gas in these final couple of laps, it's safe to say, but he's got the fastest lap in the bag. He's got the race win in the bag, and he has just been enjoying these final 5 minutes or so. Eric Luke into the final chicane he comes, and it's going to be victory for him. In a lackluster season so far, Eric Luke puts it right at Spa. Round 6 of the GT3 Fixed Series will go to him. It's win number 8 in the Precision Racing League GT3 competitions all time, and it's win number 5 in GT3 competitions for 2022. Eric Luke certainly knows what he's doing in that Ferrari.
And Baron Glover is going to come out on top in that battle, and Dale Peterson in 7th. That's the best result by far of Dale Peterson's season. Oh, but he's going to lose it to Dave Peterson at the line. I shouldn't have even mentioned it, but still, 8th place is a solid result for Dale Peterson, the best of his season. But the other Peterson, Dave Peterson, comes out on top. And then to the line here, is Mark Feil out of fuel? I think he's out of fuel here. He's going to fall from 11th to 13th if he can crawl to the line. Yeah, I think he's safe. I think he got 13th.
I think so. Just about, but that's a strange one for Feil. Brockway managed to get it back up to 12th, by the way. Amazing recovery from Adam Brockway. Whether it's enough to really revive his championship, I am doubtful. He came in 24 points adrift, and he will have lost 10-15 there. I think he'll be 40 points adrift with 4 rounds to go. I think that's going to be tricky for him to recover, but still, it's a great drive from him on this occasion. But either way, another driver we have to shout out definitely as well before we go to the results. Here is Joey Haynes. What a debut that is.
What a debut on this season. And I misspoke earlier. Joey Haynes has 3 wins in open wheel, not 6 wins, but 3 wins is still quite a few wins on the PRL road course racing circuit. A different series, but still road course racing all the same. Joey Haynes clearly has prowess, and to make that good of a race halfway through the season, I think good things are in order for Joey here. The other Joey, not me.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're commentating with me. Good things are not coming to you, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that. Let's go to the results and have a quick look then, shall we, at what we have seen. Eric Luke, there you go, more than 6 seconds of a margin for his 8th PRL GT3 victory of his career. Alec Bergstrom and Danik Van Daly round out your podium in a great championship fight that's developing between those two. Fred Galini will be kicking himself that he doesn't get another podium today. Baron Glover will be very pleased that he managed to hold off on 5th place from Roy Brown. Dave Peterson passed Dale Pedersen on that last lap. That's a mouthful, but there we are. Joey Haynes on debut, 9th place. Hats off to him, with Carl Streichardt managing to get himself inside the top 10 late on to become the first Porsche in the order here today. Brendan Victil was 11th ahead of Adam Brockway's recovery in 12th. Mark Feil running out of fuel at the end there just beat Blake Ziti and Rodrigo Morales to the line, and Don Bowden. Jean-Francois Champagne managed to get inside the top 20 with 17th. Baron Hilton in the 1 was just behind him, with Regan Chandler and Ryan Luna rounding out your top 20. In 21st, it was Sean Duhamel with Donald Olsen. Eric Dubé was all the way down in 23rd after his issues. Jim Fitzpatrick, 24th, ahead of Brian Hoskins. Guillaume Huard was 26th ahead of David Boucher. Andre Bernati with those issues fairly late in the race, and Patrick Galgil and Glenn Vanko rounding out your point scorers from that race. Andrew Ellis also got to the line there, but he was 1 lap down with Charles Sumner. Mark Bray a few more with Dan Fendick as well. Sean Carmody 35th, I'm afraid. Espinoza laps down again. Terrafino with that incident finishing or not finishing this race. Neither did Semkowicz, Chandler, Winkler or Mathieu Gagnon, who was the final driver, 41st and final classified driver, but won't be scoring any points from that lowly distance, I am afraid, in that one. Well, what a great race that was. We haven't got awfully long until the GT3 Sprint Series gets back underway, but hopefully we'll be able to have a chat with a few of these drivers, and we'll hopefully just hear from them now before we turn our attention to the GT3 Sprint Series. Let's bring in our race winner, Eric Luke, for a bit of a chat. Eric, welcome to the commentary booth. Good to have you here.
Good evening,
finally,
gentlemen.
Race victory here for you on this season. It's been it feels like it's been a long time coming, even though you haven't had quite the results maybe this season so far. With regards to your pace and whatever, it's felt like it's been a long time coming from my perspective anyway. What has this season felt like for you so far in terms of an overall, and then what does it feel like now to finally get that race win?
It feels fantastic. That was a very hard-fought race. I'm really gutted for Fred. When I came out, he was about 2.2 behind me coming out of the pits, and then I see him kind of drop off the relative. So I feel really bad for him. He ran an amazing race. He was getting that Audi fired off the corners, and I really couldn't keep pace coming off the corners with him. So it was kind of his to lose, and I feel really bad for him. But as far as the season goes, I've had a bunch of ups, bunch of downs. Work has got in the way a little bit. Work has to come first, of course. So I've missed a few races because of that, and I'm just really excited to be back on top of the podium step.
Yeah, it's great to see you back there once again. Of course, I mean, throughout the opening portion of that race, of course, you were behind Fred there, and just fuel saving that little bit, biding your time. Was that kind of strategy? Was that kind of biding your time nature part of the plan before, or was it something that you kind of you found yourself in that position? It was kind of an idea on the spot.
Yeah, with his pace, especially through the middle part of the track, is where I was having trouble keeping up with him. Of course, I got the draft and I was able to stay with him, but at the opening laps, I unfortunately don't have voice chat turned on during the sim. But if I did, I would have told them, just go, let's break the pack, and we'll worry about fighting each other at the end. I wanted us to break away from the pack, and I didn't want to pass him early on in the stages because, number one, I knew he was quicker than me through the middle part of the race, and we would just end up tripping over each other and bringing those guys back into play. So it was part to break the pack and part to fuel save, which I think the fuel saving, it gave me an extra lap on the Audi, which benefited in the pit stop.
It was a very smart race from you indeed, and a very nice win for you as well. Congratulations, Eric, on the win tonight, and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Eric Luke there, victorious here at Spa in the GT3 fixed series in the Precision Racing League. Let's have a quick chat as well to the other podium drivers, the likes of Alec Bergstrom and Danik van der Leyen. But first, we'll have a word with Alec Bergstrom. Alec, welcome to the broadcast booth. Good to have you here as well. Talk us through that fight a little bit with Danik van der Leyen. You guys are really going toe-to-toe in this championship. And did it feel like there was a lot on the line there in that fight?
Yeah, I don't know how many points I'm lacking in the championship right now, but it definitely does feel like it's on the line. I feel like every opportunity I have, I need to try to get in front of him. I feel like it's kind of coming down to it right now, even though we got a couple weeks to go. But it was a well-fought race and fair from Danik. I really honestly thought he was going to have me in those last couple laps. I kept looking over at the relative, and it was on my mind. I was really thinking about it.
It was a great fight to watch, certainly. I mean, you talked there about making use of every opportunity you possibly can in this season remaining. We've got 4 races: Sandown, Hungaroring, Suzuka and Nürburgring. Where do you think those opportunities are going to arise for you to snatch this title away?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm actually going to have to miss the next week. I have some stuff going on, so I won't be able to make that race. And that's one thing that's one of the main reasons why I know I'm going to have to push really hard, because that'll have to be my drop week. So the rest of them have to be flawless. It's going to be tough.
Absolutely. We look very much looking forward to seeing you fight it out, though. It's been great so far, and we look forward to it continuing. Alec, congratulations on P2 tonight, and we look forward to seeing you once again when you return.
Yep, hopefully I can talk to you guys again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Alec Bergstrom there, second place here today at Spa-Francorchamps. One final quick one as well here from the GT3 Fixed Series before we move on. Championship leader, and still will be, Danik van der Leyen joins us now. Welcome to the booth. Third place here for you today, and just keeping one of your main rivals, of course, on a very short leash there. Danik, how did that race feel overall? How do you feel after that one?
Honestly, after my qualification at P5, I was thinking about just don't lose too much position and don't lose the first and the second car. And I'm quite happy of my race.
I mean, we've got a great race hopefully coming up next week as well at Sandown. Hopefully we'll see you there. How are you feeling about that new circuit, of course, that's been added to iRacing?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't drive the track, so it's gonna be a new one for me, but I'm quite sure I can do something good.
Absolutely, we are certainly hoping so for your sake. Danik, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, and congratulations on once again your podium tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. Danik Van Daly, P3 here at Spa-Francorchamps today. Joey, good to finally have a chat with some of the GT3 Fixed Series guys. We don't sometimes able to get to do that, but we have done on this occasion. And yeah, it was a fantastic race there. Really enjoyed that one. Fred Gallini may be disappointed he couldn't get amongst those podium drivers and get up there, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And we got to see a great fight between Bergstrom and Van Daly instead.
Yeah, literally, them's the breaks. Unfortunately for Fred Gallini, it was the BRAKES that ended his day. But what a way to kick off the second half of the season. That was an incredible race. Eric Luke finally comes out on top. I'm very happy that he was able to finally get the result he deserved. And we've got another race coming up. If you thought that last one wasn't crazy enough, I think we're going to add about 10 cars into that field. And the sprint race is always crazy with 2 different classes as well.
Absolutely. This is the schedule just to remind you what's coming up next week is particularly with Sandown. That will be the attention of the fixed guys now, but the sprint guys will still be focusing on the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps here tonight. One more race coming up, 40 minutes here in a few months' time. Qualifying about to get underway. Let's talk you through the standings as well before we get underway for this one, because it is very close indeed. However, Guillaume Levesque is starting to just stamp his authority on this one a little bit. 23 points ahead of Andrew Waring after taking the last 4 wins in a row. He's looking difficult to stop at the moment.
He has looked very difficult to stop. The first race of the season, he didn't actually win. Moises Caraballo won, and then they had that titanic duel rather, at Fuji, and then after that, Moises just kind of fell off just a little bit. He wasn't actually here last week, and Guillaume Levesque has won 4 races in a row, so it's looked very comfortable for him. But if he starts to fall just a little bit in this second half, which is somewhat unlikely, we could start to see the likes of Andrew Waring, who's been on a hot streak lately. Diego Morales has been consistent, and Vincent Trepannier's had speed as well. So this championship is not completely over.
Certainly isn't. And you see there 8th, Darren Horvath, by the way, defending champion of this series. Not really been his season. To defend his title from this point, he's going to need a very big job indeed. In the ARM standings, Ryan McLaughlin has been winning quite a lot of races. However, he has not got a big championship lead anymore. Only 4 points separate him and Ryan Patrick at this stage. Another 3 points gained by Patrick in that one last week at Montreal. He's gained for the last 2 weeks in a row now as well. So he is keeping McLaughlin very honest indeed. This ARM championship might end up being a lot closer than the Pro Championship the way this is going.
Yeah, it looked like it was McLaughlin's season to lose. We had a few discussions about maybe Nick's going to get promoted up to Pro, but no, it's all evened out. Everybody who was in AM has stayed in AM, and Ryan Patrick has turned up the wick. His first 2 wins in a row these last 2 weeks. So yeah, that's going to be a great battle here. Kwok Nin as well, ready to pick up the pieces, and Clayton Ham was on pole last week in Montreal, so don't count him out either if he can keep this pace up.
Yeah, that fight for third is looking very exciting and very close here as well in those AM standings. In the teams as well, we also have a team championship here in this one. The pro teams, at least, it is for ASR Esports Chrome at this stage, and Lunatic Moonlight Speed Racing are leading in the AM category. So there they have it for the teams championships. Quite close in AM once again, with 3 teams only separated by 25 points there. So one to keep an eye on throughout the races as well. But the Drivers' Championships are certainly close enough for us to be focusing on, and we're close enough to the end of the season now for it to really start to matter here. I know I always talk about it pretty much from round 2, to be quite honest. That's a bit early for some people. However, I do. It's good to keep tabs on things as we move forward. Qualifying will be just getting underway in a few moments' time. We'll be bringing you pictures as soon as we get them, and we get them right now. So here we are at Talamaxon, pushing all of the buttons behind the scenes for you here tonight to bring you this coverage. The GT3 Sprint Series then out to get underway. 40 minutes once again. We've also got the same format of qualifying. 10 minutes worth of a session here, Joey. 4 laps that won't be needed. Same story as last time.
Exactly the same story as last time, just we'll have a 5-minute longer race here, but we've got 5 minutes left in qualifying now. This is Andrew Waring, I believe, currently third, 0.8 of a second off Guillaume Levesque right now. Guillaume, the only driver in the 213s, 0.7 of a second over Caven Norris in second, and then Jonathan Wager is actually currently in third, or is it Waring? I don't know. We'll have to determine who's who. Yes, it is Jonathan Wager. There we go. As the car spins around, I can see that familiar Canadian flag on the back.
Olivier goes to the front there with that time. Second driver to get into the 13s, and it looks like might well just have done enough for the provisional pole position. We've still got a fair few minutes to go here in qualifying, but yeah, wait to see where Waring might get to as well here, because he does need to gain points here as well. The one advantage Waring does have is that when we start to factor in our drop weeks here, or the singular drop round, and the amount of points that they drop, Waring is indeed dropping a lot less points than Levesque is, because he's actually had a much worse first round than Levesque's worst round, which is also the first round, so that is helping Waring. But even so, it's very difficult to beat the Triple Eight here, I mean, on a singular day, and so yeah, it's certainly in his hands.
I'm looking through our sheet here as the timing ticks through. I don't see Moises Caraballo anywhere, so I don't know if he's going to be here to make this a battle for the win, or if it's going to be Dominic Olivier versus Guillaume Levesque this week. That would certainly be a change of pace. As we look back here, this is Dominic Olivier, one of our Precision Racing esports drivers competing in the Precision Racing League, and we haven't seen pole-worthy pace out of Dominic so far this season, but tonight he has found it. He's clearly very, very comfortable around Spa. Of course, lots of experience around this track, lots of experience in GT machinery, and he could be the upset of the week here.
Managed to get a top 5 at the season opener at the Hockenheim ring, but since then it's not been a good season for Olivier. Only 6 points since then, and that's not good news for him, I'm afraid. It's put him in 27th in the overall Global Drivers' Championship, which is much, much further down than you'd expect to see him. But then again, he's really performing here now, and this will be his final lap time of the session, by the way, but it might be all he needs here. A 13.8 might be enough, or whatever this lap time is going to be here might just be enough here for Olivier to get that pole position ahead of Guillaume Levesque into the final corner. And we'll see if this Mercedes is just going to improve that little bit more. Out of the bus stop chicane and up over the line again. 2:02 remaining. He's not going to get another lap, and he's not going to improve on that lap either. So Olivier has left this a bit late, unfortunately.
Olivier still looking good for pole, though. Here we see 13th place, Corey Precker right now, third in AM, or actually second in AM. A little bit of a mistake on our timing sheet there. EJ Nixon in the 17. He's actually a pro, so he is not on pole in AM. Ryan Patrick is. Corey Precker is second, and he's not going to improve on this lap. He elects to park the bus, and he is happy with second for the moment, at least.
Well, he's going to have to be. I'm afraid there's Vincent Trepanier finally. We were waiting for a good lap time from him, and it's finally come out just under half a second away from Olivier, and it's third place for the 87 driver. Top 8 at the moment, pro drivers. And then the first of the AMs coming just after that. And a small margin there as well. There's a top 9 actually, with Milwain getting into the top 9 there as well. This is Levesque though. He doesn't need very much time at all, 10th and a half, and he will be able to get this pole position away from Olivier. He's already got 3 poles so far this season. He's not been giving many other drivers really a chance so far. Will it be his 4th here today? Over the line for Guillaume Levesque, championship leader, 3-time pole sitter, could become 4, and it will do. It's a 2:13.6 for Guillaume Levesque, and the 888 will once again be leading the field off.
I'm sure Dominic Olivier is saying, haven't you had enough poles, Guillaume? You couldn't let me have this one thing. But he's still going to be starting on the outside of the front row, and who won the last race but the driver on the outside of the front row? So don't count Dominic Olivier out. He could be the one to break the streak.
He could well be. 4th pole of the season there for Guillaume Levesque, who is yet to finish lower than second here in this championship. Andrew Waring trying to keep him honest here, but it's becoming very difficult for him indeed in terms of this championship to try and stay as close as possible. Levesque in control as things stand with 23 points of an advantage. Olivier, as we've already mentioned, his main rival in this one, a long way back. Trepanier also 42 points back. Levesque is in control here in the Precision Racing League GT3 Sprint Series. Let's have a look before we go into the race. The starting grid here for this one. It's another quite big grid, although not quite as big as the fixed series, unless a few have not set any lap times in qualifying. In which case I'm in big trouble, really. But yes, there's another big grid coming up because it is such a popular circuit, such a great circuit, and Guillaume Levesque has conquered it first. Dominic Olivier alongside him with Vincent Trepanier and Henri Jeunesse with a great lap time right at the end there. Jonathan Wazer running out the top 5 with Kevin Norris, also for ASR Esports, purple in that 6th place. Andrew Hartmann 7th ahead of Dagan Morales. Ryan Patrick, the first of the AM drivers to get in here. Ozzy Milwain rounds out the top 10. EJ Nixon and Nick McLaughlin round out the top 12, and that's the top 3 in AM as well on your screen there. Brian Patrick, maybe an opportunity to take points here today for him. Michelin Green will be 13th ahead of reigning champion Devon Horvath. Michael Broomhead will be 15th ahead of Lance Lunis. Corey Precker and Kwoknin will be taking up row 9 here today, with Mike McDonald and Clayton Ham rounding up the top 20. It's got an all BMW row 11 with Tommy Breeson and Michael Papilano, which I should say. Alexander Breton will be 23rd ahead of Rob Campbell, 24th in the 93 car. Then in 25th place, it will be David Menanoa. Alex Fournier alongside him with Ethan Tavitas. Caleb Lehman 28th ahead of David Bush the 3rd, and Ted Lowendick rounding out the top 30. Marc-Andre Desjardins will be 31st ahead of Kenny Rodriguez. Colin McKenzie behind them. Miguelango Fonseca, a bit lowly for him in 12th in AM there, I'm afraid. Christopher Reens running out the top 35. Brett Furman quite a long way down in the 69 car. Colin Hefferman will be 37th with Sean Mulholland. Phil Amaro and Alex Wright will be on the 20th row of the grid together. Robert Ridgway, David Morse, Luke Davis and Andrew Waring round out your 44-car grid. Andrew Waring, interestingly, in that 2nd place in the championship, will be starting 44th and last here today. Not entirely sure whether there was a qualifying ban there or whether he just was only able to join this session very, very late indeed. However, he's given himself an awful lot of work to do in what is already an uphill battle against the 888. Speaking of which, Guillaume Levesque will be starting this race from the very front. He will be in control of this field coming out of La Source, and it will be no surprise with what he does here. Well, I say that. Most drivers hit it immediately out of La Source. That hasn't happened. Levesque has waited a bit longer, and now he finally goes. Leaves us all in suspense for that little bit longer before going on that run towards Eau Rouge and Radion, where we've got side-by-side racing inside the top 5 already. They make it through cleanly at the very front of the field. Let's hope they do the same back in the pack. Levesque is going to take this one then away from Olivier. Then it's going to be Trepanier and Jeunesse at the moment, although Olivier is going to give a bit of a challenge here to the 888. He's not going to be able to get through into Lecom.
Once Guillaume Levesque takes the lead, you don't really take him out of the lead, so Olivier knows that, and he knows that this is the time he needs to make the move. This is the time he needs to be aggressive. You need to get Guillaume Levesque off the top spot early, and he takes himself off the top spot. I jinxed him a little bit. I said he doesn't make mistakes. He did just make a huge wiggle there. He's able to keep the position, but that was a sign of weakness for, I think, the first time this season.
A rare mistake from Guillaume Levesque, and Olivier wants to take advantage of this at every opportunity possible. Still side by side in the background, by the way, with Henri Jeunesse and Kevin Norris. There was briefly side by side anyway inside the top 10. There's Ryan Patrick on the inside of Nixon. side by side, but and we'll have the inside for Stavolo, will Patrick. There he goes. Tries to take this one, but of course he's in an AM fight with Nick McLaughlin, and so he doesn't need to make this fight just for the moment. He's staying very, very close together though, especially at the front of the field, especially at this mid-pack as well, at the front of the AM category, which is being hotly contested at the moment.
Mitchell Ian Green here, another pro trying to get through Ryan Patrick, and in another Pro-Am battle, Devin Horvath has been let through by Nick McLaughlin. So these AMs trying to run their own race, and Levesque has made another mistake up into the bus stop, and Olivier might get to lead this lap.
Inside line, and he will just get his nose in front at the line here for what it's worth. Inside line into La Source as well, and this is all going to kick off completely now. Olivier is on the inside, half defending almost. He had that position pretty much on the way in there, and now he's going to have to respond to the counter-attack here from Levesque. Vincent Trepanier just waiting in the wings as well, just watching and hoping for an opportunity now. Jonathan Wager a few car lengths back. You can see the top three though, almost covered by a blanket here, as we've got Levesque almost pushing Olivier up the hill, through the Kemmel Kinken, up to the straight. Is this a bit of a strategical ploy by Levesque to try and get himself and a few others away from the rest of the field, much like what Eric Luke was talking about at the end of his fixed series race?
I'm sure Guillaume was taking a peek at this broadcast in that fixed series race, and I can only imagine that he saw what Eric Luke did, and he's going to try and do the same thing here. He's lost the lead. He's on the bottom foot, or the back foot, as that phrase should go. Think back to Long Beach a couple weeks ago. He lost pole to his teammate Vincent Trepanier. He went on the zero-stop strategy. He saved fuel. He didn't stop. Not going to be able to do that at Spa, but he will be able to pull something strategy-wise, and I think already he's thinking about strategy. He's thinking about, how do I win this race in the pits?
Yeah, I mean, the most astonishing thing about that win at Long Beach was how nonchalant he was about it all in the commentary box afterwards. We were almost jumping off our chairs here, marvelling at the fact he could go a whole race without stopping, and he stepped into the booth as if he'd gone to the shops, really. And just having won that race, he was very calm indeed. And that, of course, started what is a really great run for him now, 4 in a row in this series. And it's very unlikely to be toppled by any of the pro drivers unless one starts to round out now. His record is probably not going to be beaten in this season. Meanwhile, further back in AM, Clayton Ham and Crooklyn are fighting over 4th place, and this is exactly around about where they are in the AM Championship as well. Corey Precker has managed to get onto the podium, the AM podium, just for the moment, but Ham and Nin have been pretty inseparable so far. They are in the standings, and they are in this race as well right now.
Ham and Nin sounds like a delicious sandwich, and it's a delicious battle right now. 4 tenths between the two of them, but Clayton Ham able to hold on in this train. It's a bigger train than I think we saw in the fixed race. We saw a lot of separation in the fixed race when everybody had equal setups, but somewhat interestingly, in the sprint race, the open setup series, we're seeing a lot more equalization, and from the lead down to the back of the field, we've still got a train going here.
We really do. At least the top 15 are in one big train at the moment. There you can see it from that camera, that camera angle there. Clear to see the field all in one long line, and then there is a bit of side-by-side up and down the order as well, as we're seeing coming up towards Lecombe at the moment. These are the fights just around the lower points of the top 20, and it's going to be down a place, I'm afraid, there for Clayton Ham. We'll go a little bit further up though.
Oh, Nixon!
Oh no, Nixon off the road. I believe this is possibly his first race this season, or one of the first. Anyway, certainly wasn't there from the very start of the season. But there it is, and he's gone back to pit lane straight away. That might be a retirement, I'm afraid, because he was just, as we were talking about, one long line. You can never find a place to rejoin.
And this is EJ Nixon's first race of the season, so new in fact that I got a message from league organizer Jerome telling me that he was a new driver on the night of this race. So that's how new EJ Nixon was, and with that short of a notice, he's been doing a fantastic job here. But unfortunately, a fantastic job in the top 10 ends with just a little mistake there down the hill, and he overcorrects it, and it unfortunately ends in the wall. But in the 5 minutes he was here with us, it was a very promising first race of the season for EJ Nixon, and I hope he continues to be with us for the rest of the season, because he's proven to be a strong competitor, and I hope we see him in the coming weeks.
Yeah, hopefully he will be continuing with us because that was a promising start for him, if not a disappointing end, as we have Devin Horvath getting through on Ryan Patrick there. I keep wanting to say Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I'm pretty sure it's an American footballer, so sorry about that. But yeah, just knocking on the door of a top 10 at the moment. This is a position that Horvath is not used to compared to the previous season, where he was champion, of course. But he's not going to be able to repeat that, I'm pretty sure. He's struggled to this season, really. Horvath is 9th at the moment in the overall standings with Pro and Am, 8th if you just count pros. But he's yet to get a top 5, and for a defending champion, it is really surprising.
The competition this season in the PRL, it's been good forever. It's always been good, but this season it is just a whole nother level, and you're seeing that here with Devin Horvath being relegated essentially to a driver who's fighting for the latter parts of the top 10. You see it in the F3 series, you see it in all of the road course series, and even the oval series in the PRL. The competition is as high as it's ever been, and there's an incident in the background. That's one of the ASR esports drivers, I believe. The competition's high, but unfortunately accidents do still happen.
Yeah, what's going on here? Into Lecom. Oh dear, well, sort of a snap and all sorts of things. One of the Audis getting into contact. That might have been Menanoa actually in the Audi who made the contact. Not sure who the Mercedes was, but getting all out of shape through Lecom there. The changes of direction there do make things tricky, and the Mercedes is not the best car for those changes of direction. It has to be said. It's a little bit, I don't know if the word wobbly is the right way to describe it, but it certainly looks that way. When you just see the car making changes of direction, it doesn't look quite comfortable, and it certainly didn't there.
It didn't look comfortable at all. That was Alexandre Breton, one of our AM drivers, in trouble for Colin Heffernan on the exit of Pouhon. That's a weird place to spin. I almost wonder if there was contact with another driver. We'll have to take a look at that again in the battle between Kwok Ninh and Clayton Ham. The delicious sandwich is going to continue, and Kwok Ninh almost loses it as well.
That was a huge slide. The inside of Blanchimont there is a curb you don't really want to be on. And it was a big save. This is what happened to Heffernan on the outside line. Wow.
Oh, he hopped the curb.
That was a big bump. Oh, and a big hit on the wall as well.
Disaster for Colin Heffernan. He had the best race of his season in the F3 series on Thursday, finished second at the Red Bull Ring. Unfortunately, disaster in the GT3s for Colin Heffernan. Destruction. Atomic Racing's now down to 1 bullet. Robert Ridgway is still on track. Cannot see where he is. I believe he is in the latter stages of the top 10. I don't know where he is. We'll see where Robert Ridgway is a little bit later.
We'll try and find him somewhere out there. Now this field just getting struck out a little bit. It's sort of all single file, and there's still one quite large train, but it's really only 8 cars now. Levesque's trying to fall into order here with Dominic Oliver to try and just stay away from the rest of the field, really. But it's proving difficult to do so. As you said earlier, the level of the field has gone up so high in the Precision Racing League, and the strength of the field is so good that even with Levesque almost working with Oliver here, pushing him down the straight when he has chance, he's still not really able to get separation in this group.
Not at all, and we have to start thinking, does this help Trepanier? Does this help Wager? Does this help Diego Morales? Could they be the upsets here? Could they steal a little bit of the action in the pit cycle? We saw in the last race, Eric Luke jumped Fred Galini to the tune of about 2 seconds, so that could keep the entirety of the top 5 here in contention. If they're all saving here, if they're all just running in line here, trying to minimize that pit time, it could be any of these top 5 here once the pit strategy rolls through.
It really could.
Just the update on Robert Ridgway from a few seconds ago, he's in 11th, so that ends that one.
Yeah, there we are. 11th in AM, that is, by the way. Meanwhile, down the inside in that 5th place, now 4th for Diego Morales. Oh, and almost a look back down the inside from Wazer there. In that 5th place now, but he had a little look at that one in the second portion of the bus stop chicane, wasn't able to do it, and had to bounce across that curb in a big way. As recovering here the 42 Ferrari of Caleb Learmont. 7th now in AM. Why is this car running quite so slowly? Well, it's only one position lost. Maybe a small mistake somewhere, but maybe Learmont has hit something here, or someone's hit him.
I think
Does that car look all right?
The important car is right there in front of him. You see that Evolve Sim Sports, the green and black Mercedes. That's Andrew Waring. He started at the back of this field. He started 44th, and he's up to 24th overall and 18th in Pro.
That is an astonishing drive from Andrew Waring so far. 24th overall from 44th. He's gained 20 places in 12 minutes here. An overtake of about 2 overtakes a lap at this rate, which is a real strong record. Obviously, he will have gained from incidents and picked up a few persons on the opening lap, but we still can't take it away from him. That was impressive. And that mistake, by the way, for Jonathan Wager there has opened up a bit of a gap, so the top 4 are now getting away a little bit, and Wager has got his own battles to worry about here. Onu Jeanette, Kevin Norris, Andrew Hartman. These 4 fighting over 5th place at the moment, but no longer in this train for the lead.
If there is another move by Diego Morales, maybe if he decides to go for a dive on Trepanier, that could be the slowing down that Mr. Wager needs to make this 4-some and 8-some. But that doesn't look like that's very likely. Battles further back here, 17th and 18th overall. Clayton Hammond quacked in. They can't get away from each other. Quack's not giving this one up. He's been loose. Corey Precker here actually leads the train as well, so it's a 3-way battle between Ham and his teammate Precker and Kwok Nin as well.
Yeah, Precker was in this 3rd place earlier on, but he's clearly been overtaken by Ham somewhere. And Kwok Nin might be trying to get back through. Here we go. Oh, no, the BMW not making that dive, although in the second phase of the braking there was a bit of a dive. And now side by side on the exit of the corner between 2 of the BMWs as well. That's Parberland, I think, trying to make his way through. Let's see. A bit defensive into La Source as well. And this is only going to allow Clayton Ham to get away. All of that little bit of defending. And indeed Corey Precker, I suppose, as well. In that 17th position overall. But these fights always do tend to do that. It's a bit of a pattern. Once you do start fighting, you do lose a lot of time, and that's why we don't see much of it in this point in the race, especially in the sprint series. Seems like everybody's got this one figured out. The fixed series was quite mental early on, but this is a lot calmer because everybody knows that it needs to be in this half of the race.
Yeah, both races have been mental, but the first race was mental in a crazy sense. This race is mental in a thinking, in a calculated sense. A little bit of wordplay there for... I don't know if that worked out, but who knows?
I understood what you meant.
The train here is AM versus Pro. So talking about mental games, these pros have to figure out how to get through these guys. Precker and Nin lead the train as AMs. Then Pabiano and Fournier are Pro. Then Rob Campbell is AM in the pink and white car. Then 3 more pros with Brisson, Waring, and Ted Lowendick. So it's just a melange here of pros and AMs, and they've got to figure out how to sort each other out. There's some big blinks going on at the head of this train with Corey Precker, so he's got to get that sorted out.
Yeah, there we are. Precker just having a couple of problems. He did briefly get away from the likes of Nin, but he just doesn't seem to quite have the pace to do that, as that's a big dive from Andrew Waring. My goodness me.
That was great.
Yeah, it was great. He's on a mission, though. He's on an absolute mission. 22nd is now the position he finds himself in. If there's any chance of him remaining in this championship fight, then he's going to make sure of it today. And he's going to make sure that nobody stops him, because he's just making overtakes whenever and wherever he can.
And who cares about this battle? Because look in the bottom right of your screen. Ted Lowendick, always themed, has made a fresh Belgian waffle for us. But there's been a Belgian waffle in the bus stop chicane. There's cars all over the place.
Yeah, there certainly was. And that's somebody slowing down dramatically over the line there. One of the BMWs, maybe a slowdown. Waring on the outside here, by the way, of the 116. And it's going to be another place for him. Oh, bit of contact side to side, but Waring makes his way through to 18th place now. Side by side in the background as well with Ted Lowendick. We were just on board with him. and just looking at his pre-made waffle as well. This is what happened down to
it was
the bus
Precker.
stop. Oh dear, that's so
Pabiano.
late on the brakes from the BMW. I don't know who that was.
That was Pabiano. That was his teammate, I think.
Oh my, that's an awkward one. But there we are. Around goes Preckett. And up the inside goes Waring, and around once again for one of the BMWs. It's Kwok-Nin who's gone around. We were talking about that fight for third in Am and how close it was, what an integral part Kwok-Nin was of this fight. He was always there, always fighting, but I'm afraid he's been completely served through the Lecom section, and he's way down the order now.
And he struggled to get back on the power. I thought he was going to rejoin around with Corey Precker, ironically, but no, he's fallen all the way out of the top 10 here. Kwok-Nin just struggling to find a gap in the road, and that is disastrous for one of the most consistent AM drivers in this championship. But that's great for these guys up here. They've picked up the positions from the incident at the bus stop. Now they've picked up a position from Kwok-Nin. This is going to promote Ted Lowendick into the last spot in the top 20, and looks like it'll be 17th in pro for him, but might be 16th. Big lose for the Porsche of Alex Fournier, or the Mercedes rather, and he loses it completely.
And somehow the Audi stays going in the right direction. That's Tommy Brisson, I think. Excuse me, it's Ted Lowendick. Brisson just in front, but wow. There was a number of moments there where you thought the Mercedes had it, and then he didn't, and then he did, and then he didn't, I'm afraid, right at the end.
And that's the second time we've seen one of those ASR Mercedes do that same thing. They just lose it at the beginning of the corner, and then they lose it, and then they save it, and then they lose it, and they save it, and then they end up throwing it completely off the road. Here is Alex Fournier. Through the last two corners, he throws it off the road at Stavolo, and then through Corporal Frere, he gets loose, and he tries to save it, and then there's grass and gravel there, and it was a lost cause. Unfortunately for Ted Lowendick, he took a little bit of a smack to the left side there. Doesn't look too bad. He looks like he's keeping pace. He didn't even notice when he had damage last week en route to a solid finish, so he'll probably ignore this damage right now. It looks just fine, and his charge forward continues.
Excuse me, it certainly will continue on. But yeah, I mean, it was all going wrong from the very word go there in that replay. The missing of the apex at Stavolo really set the tone outside into the gravel, and then it just continued to get worse. Things are looking pretty good right now though for Ryan Patrick and Nick McLaughlin. Once again, they are 1 and 2 in this race. Only 4 points separate them in the championship right now. If they were to finish as they are, they would be tied on points if you factor in the pole position point at the moment. Is it too early to think about the fastest lap point? Well, not really. If it was to end right now, Nick McLaughlin would get that, and that we don't know about the incident points just yet. But either way, I reckon the gap will be, if they're not tied on points, then there's be 1 point or 2 points between them. It's so close.
And I am so happy that it is close. We thought at the start of the season, after those 3 wins in a row, that Nick was just going to run away with this, but he has found his competition in Ryan Patrick, and these guys are pushing each other so hard here. It's been fantastic to watch. They're pushing each other pretty hard in this race as well, so we're talking about how close the lead overall is in pro. These guys are just as close in AM. We're going to see exactly the same strategy play out, I think, between McLaughlin and Patrick. And has Nick saved fuel in that Audi behind Patrick? Patrick has Horvath as a buddy ahead in a pro, so both of these guys could be pretty darn equal on strategy, which could make for some crazy all-out racing in the second stint once everybody comes down pit road.
Yeah, that's what makes this battle different to the one in the front for pro, because Guillaume Levesque will have been saving that little bit of fuel behind Olivier, because the 99 certainly doesn't have any cars in front to draft off of. However, it's a bit different because Ryan Patrick will have been able to use some of these pro cars himself, so that might negate some of the fuel advantage for Fitzpatrick. Excuse me, that's not even anyone in this race. For McLaughlin, I should say. Here comes Guillaume Levesque, though, down the inside into Lecom. He's been biding his time, he's been saving his fuel, and now he's picked his moment to strike. He takes the lead, and there it is. Olivier drops down to second. The case now is whether he can stick with him or not.
That's always the hardest part. He was able to lead, but now how good is he on offense rather than defense? And now that Diego Morales and Trepanier have been fighting each other, even if it was just for a corner, you can see the gap that these two have already pulled, and you can see in about a quarter of a lap, Guillaume Levesque has already pulled about 6/10 through Pouon. It expands to almost 7/10 over Dominic Olivier. I don't know if this is a move signifying that Levesque is intending to come down pit road now, because he wants to lead onto pit road. I don't know. Maybe he just thinks he saved enough fuel and he was sick of waiting behind. But if I was a thinking man, if I was a betting man, I'd say he's coming down pit road here soon.
Well, it wouldn't be the worst call ever. Although Levesque is pushing hard at the moment. Olivier finding it difficult to just stick with him for now. Proving a challenge, as it has been all season long, for everybody to stick with Guillaume Levesque. 4 wins in a row for him now. Top 5s every time, podiums every time. Top 2s every single race so far this season. So both of them staying out once again. We're certainly getting, now that we're over the halfway stage though, we're certainly getting down towards that point in the race where pit stops are certainly possible. I mean, compared to previous weeks, I was actually surprised to see how many early stops we did get in the fixed series, because by no means did everybody run their tanks dry there, whereas we have seen that quite regularly in both series so far this season. However, on that occasion it was not like that. If this was the fixed series drivers, then we would have seen quite a few drivers in by this point.
And I am surprised that he elected to go for that move if he wasn't going to bring it down pit road. I guess he just eventually thought that I'm getting too slowed down here. I'm running in second, I'm saving fuel, but I'm just going too slow and I want to lead. So Guillaume Levesque does take over the lead. This is not a battle for position that you're seeing on your screens right now. This is AM versus Pro. Ahead, I believe that is Mark McDonald, and then third place in AM, Clayton Ham here. Having a great race, but unfortunately all of his buddies have disappeared. They've either been wrecked or wrecked themselves, and he's got a very, very lonely race for third here right now, which I can't imagine he's too unhappy about.
Well, it's still a podium. He will not be complaining about that. Francis Trepanier just not quite having the pace for that at the moment. Wager and Jeunesse, Norris, Hardman, they're all fighting at the moment, as you can see on your screen right now. Where is Andrew Waring? I think he's down in 17th, still 17th for him. 14th in the pro standings. There's Kevin Norris, if you can see him at all. Very dark room. I'm actually surprised. I see this quite a lot with sim racing. I don't quite know what it is. I guess this is a sort of game as it in general as well. Their rooms are so dark in the surrounding area. The screen is so bright compared to everything else in their room. I wonder, even in these races, how their eyes don't hurt afterwards, because mine certainly would. But either way, dark rooms in the background certainly seem to be the way to go for whatever reason, and no light shining on your face, if at all possible, seems to be the way to go.
It'll hurt your eyes, but it gives you the most possible visibility. You're guaranteeing you don't have any glare, and also, we are racing at night right now, so I know some drivers do like to, when they're racing at night, they like to shut off the lights. They want to get in that night mood, that night mind space. They want to equalize what the room looks like compared to what's on their screen. So maybe that's what Kevin Norris is doing. I don't know. We'll have to look back at him next week when we're at a day race again. We'll see if he's turned the lights back on.
Yeah, let's see. It's a good point actually. You do kind of want to set the scene a little bit, because I think especially, I mean, this is not really a problem for anybody in this race at the moment, because we don't have anybody from the kind of Oceania region or Asia, I don't think anyway, where that's the only time in the world where it would maybe be light at the moment. Well, not the only place, but one of the only places anyway. You know, it'd be interesting to know whether they would still try and set the scene that way because of the nighttime driving, or whether they would just go with what they went with anyway, because daylight glare does certainly affect nighttime driving. I do understand that, but yeah, when it's dark outside, I don't think having the light on hurts. Certainly doesn't personally, but the glare very minimal. Yeah, I certainly see what you're saying about the minimising glare and trying to set the scene just a little bit. And of course, you can't question these guys because they are pretty good at what they do. Kevin Norris at the moment, 7th place. We're just on board with him there. Ono Jeunesse just in front of him right now. There's Jonathan Wager in this battle for 5th place. You can just see his Mercedes in front. I guess the most remarkable thing about this race so far is the fact that we've got so many cars, so many Mercedes at the front of this field. The top 10 are all driving the new Mercedes. That is the best showing we've seen from them all season, and we've seen some good showings from Mercedes so far.
This is certainly a Mercedes track. They didn't actually win the Spa-24. It was the Porsche that won that with Coanda, but the Mercedes here at the PRL, this is why so many drivers switched to this car a few weeks ago. They took the 20-point loss because it was clearly worth it at all these high-speed tracks at Watkins Glen, at Montreal, here at Spa. I think they made the right decision, but it's hard to make up 20 points, but clearly it is the faster car, and the fact that the entire top 10 is all Mercedes, but now just about all of them are coming down pit road, except for our 2 leaders.
Oh yeah, we're about to see the whole top 10 come in. Well, not quite, because Levesque and Liviere are going to stay out, but my goodness me, we've got a lot of drivers in pit lane here. Now, normally, with the fuel limitation rules here being at 50%, you'd expect them to go half an hour. However, here at this circuit, they're not able to. We saw that throughout the 24-hour, them going just short of the hour. When you're really pushing in a sprint race like this, you'd expect them to go less than half an hour, indeed, with the 50% limitation. And so that's what we're seeing. But it's so remarkable that all of these drivers have decided to run the tank dry, essentially, and not try anything different in this race. It's really bizarre.
Drivers have to be careful here, though. We've seen a few instances this season with a field this big. There are some pit stalls that are going to be overlapping, so you need to make sure if there is a car, there's a few damaged cars still sitting in the pits, you got to make sure you know where your pit stall is, and you got to make sure you don't throw away these close margins in a battle like that. But it looks like everybody is going to find their pit stalls nice and easy, except for the 774 of Kevin Norris. He didn't have a car in his stall, but he did overcook it there, and that's going to be a critical 2 or 3 tenths that he's going to lose.
Yeah, is Andrew Hartman going to get out in front of him as a result of that? Because that can be a costly mistake, certainly. These are the 2 leaders that decided to stay out, and it's side by side at the pit lane there. Hartman did not get in front because he had a slow stop of his own. Ian Green is able to gain out on that one. Honor Jeunesse is able to get ahead of Jonathan Wazer there. They'll come out in the battle for 5th place a little bit later. Morales won the race out of pit lane, though, out of those who came in that time around. He'll cycle through into 3rd, you would imagine, when this is all said and done. Meanwhile, though, it's Levesque versus Liviere. Who is going to come out on top in this one? Is there going to be a fight on the way into the pit lane? Surely not here. Outside line for the 99. He brakes late, and Levesque brakes early. Oh, and it's too late for Olivier. Way too late. Levesque even knew that, or just wanted to be single file on the way into the pits, and who can blame him? He goes in first. Olivier risked it all there and broke far too late.
He risked it all, but he didn't actually lose anything. He's still right to the back of Guillaume Levesque just by how tight the pit entry is. He was able to make up all that time, so I really liked that move. I like that he went for it. He wanted to lead into the pits. Probably should have tried it a little bit earlier, but that was a good move, and now we got to race off pit road. The crawl through this corner. Make sure you don't hit the wall on the outside. All these pros, they're not at risk of hitting the wall on the outside, but some of us mere mortals find that very, very difficult, turning that corner. And now we wait. Is Levesque going to be able to take less fuel after sticking behind Olivier for so long?
I'm not entirely sure whether either of them are going to really have an advantage at this point, because they've both spent time behind one another. So it's hard to say whether either of them would really benefit from this or not. Let's see, though. Into the pit boxes they go. Almost identically in a simultaneous way, like synchronized swimmers. They pull up in their box. Now then, will Olivier be able to go earlier?
What?
No, he will not. It's going to be the 888 of Guillaume Levesque who leaves earliest. His pit stop slightly shorter. The fuel he saved in that stint slightly advantageous there, and he's given himself a 1 second safety cushion, really, over Olivier. And he will look to take this one home now to win a 5th in a row.
I'm dumbfounded. 9.5 seconds. That's the shortest time anybody in the field has spent on pit road. He's the only driver to spend less than 10 seconds in the pit box. So Guillaume Levesque, he was riding behind Dominic Olivier. We know that, but that is still a remarkable pit stop, remarkable fuel strategy. And I shouldn't be surprised. He's been the king of fuel strategy this season, but he's done it again, and he's got the track position.
What another example of why Guillaume Levesque is the man this season. Andrew Waring has done such an amazing job to get up to 13th today, but he's still going to lose nearly 20 points, possibly more than 20 points, to his rival. Is this championship being put to bed before our eyes? Guillaume Levesque has been so dominant this season that it might just well be. Nick McLaughlin, by the way, has got out in front of Ryan Patrick, and that is going to be a wonderful battle to watch for 11th overall. And the win in the AM category. There they are. It's Audi versus Lamborghini, and McLaughlin has managed to go that lap longer and jump Patrick in the pits.
And this is exactly the thing we talked about. Nick McLaughlin, he was still able to be a second less time in the pit box, I should say, compared to Patrick, but these guys are closer than Levesque and Olivier were, because I think Patrick also got a little bit of help in the form of Devin Horvath, who they've actually jumped now. He was saving fuel behind the pros, so he evened it out just a little bit, and the battle for the lead here is still just as close. But as I said, it's flat out from here. They've only got 4 or 5 laps now to attack here, and if Ryan Patrick wants to make the move, he's going to have to be aggressive. He's also going to have to hope that the pro of Ozzy Milwain doesn't hold them both up.
Yeah, got to be very careful there. Nearly went straight into the back of the Mercedes, but it's certainly not helping McLaughlin here. He's really under pressure. Patrick with no incentive really to look down the inside at La Source. There's no real point. There's much more of an idea to set things up for Lecon, but this is the problem that Patrick now has, is that there's a car in front of McLaughlin for him to really draft off of and maybe defend his position, help defend his position here. Let's see though as they make the run up through Eau Rouge and over Radion now. There's going to be a lot of slipstream here for Patrick to maybe make use of in that Lamborghini. A half defence there from the Audi. Patrick may be indicating that he doesn't want to go for this just yet. Is there going to be a late one? He decides to stay behind. What is he waiting for here? There's only 6.5 minutes to go.
I think he might be waiting for Ozzy Milwain to be dispatched of, but I don't know if Nick McLaughlin's actually going to go for the move. I think it's just a weird scenario. It's a weird sandwich where the AMs are faster than the pro here for one reason or another, and he's holding them both up, but he's also holding up the possibility of Ryan Patrick to make a move because he's given Nick McLaughlin the draft down all the straights. So it's just a really weird situation. If I was Ryan Patrick, I would have gone for the move there because those opportunities are ticking down. We're losing opportunities with every lap, and you don't want to wait too long. Like we saw at the end of the last race, you got to make your move here. There might be 3 laps left, but at Spa, that's only 3 laps. There's a lot of corners, but it's not a lot of attempts at them.
Yeah, at the very least, McLaughlin just is on the same pace as Milwain here, but he certainly doesn't really want to overtake him at this stage. It's helping him hold on to this place. Patrick's life is becoming more difficult as a result of the 114 Mercedes being in there, so there's absolutely no reason why the championship leader would go through at this stage, and I don't think he will do. There he is on the right hand side of your screen. Hard at work again. Not having to defend too much, but he will be watching his mirrors religiously at this point. Not letting anything Ryan Patrick does take him off guard, catch him by surprise. 3 laps to go as we cross the line, 5 minutes remaining. And it's going to be quite a long 5 minutes as far as Nick McLaughlin is concerned, although that's a very good exit off of La Source. Milwain right in front, and I think he'll be safe for this run up towards Lecon.
It was a great exit, but unfortunately there was a car right in front of him, and he's going to have to lift here, unless he is going to go for the move on Milwain. If I was him, I would go for the move. As here's a move, Wager and Genet, this is for position. Around the outside goes Jonathan Wager, but it's not done. Genet's going to have to back out of it, and yes, he does. He gets back in the line, and Jonathan Wager back into the top 5, and there's McLaughlin on Milwain as well.
McLaughlin wants a car between himself and Patrick, and if he was able to get that done quicker, then he would have done it. However, he hasn't, and now he lets the Mercedes back in. I think he was hoping there that he would get through and the Mercedes would slot between the two of them, but it hasn't happened. So he just let Milwain get right round the outside there. Patrick was kind of blocked on going through. As we go
Levesque
off
made a
the road.
mistake.
Oh,
Levesque.
Guillaume Levesque makes a mistake from the lead of this race. What has happened to the
it's a
race
lap
leader?
car.
Oh my goodness, it's a lap car. What has gone on here?
That's the 72.
Oh, he brakes on the grass, loses control, and gets into the side of Guillaume Levesque. Now, how does he lose further time here, Guillaume Levesque? He gets onto that curb and goes straight on.
He's got
Is
damage.
there big suspension damage to that car? If the suspension damage is as bad as that corner indicated, then Levesque is in big trouble here. He's losing so much time. Look at him.
Yeah, and you can see he's wiggling down the straights here. That is not a car that is in control, and he knows it. He's going to get out of the way here. That's it for Guillaume Levesque. He's going to bring it down pit road here, and that's huge. That is huge for some of his championship rivals. Moises Caraballo isn't here to make up for this, but that's going to be no for Guillaume Levesque. He's getting nothing out of this race.
Absolutely. However, this will become his drop week instead. That is his saving grace here. This will become his drop week instead, so he's still, in theory, because the previous drop week will be added to his score now, he's still going to score 32 points today, effectively, or his total is going to be 32 points further on than what it was earlier today. So I still fear that despite the fact Andrew Waring has done the most unbelievable job, he's in 11th place now in the pro standings, I still think he's going to lose points. And it looks like he is going to still lose about 12 points to Levesque if things were to stay as they are. As McLaughlin, after last lap trying to overtake the Mercedes, he's realised that it's actually probably better to stay behind and use Milwain as a drafting partner to just get away from Patrick. But by the looks of things, Ryan Patrick is waiting for the final lap where everything will kick off between these two.
I worry that might be too late, because when you leave it to the final lap, you need the final lap to go perfectly. If you make one mistake, you're out of it. Ryan Patrick has had a lot of great opportunities. When they went side by side with Ozzy Milwain down the hill there, Patrick had a great opportunity to send it down to the inside into Bruxelles, but he didn't go for it. He is definitely waiting until the last lap. I just hope it works out for him. I hope he doesn't wait too long, and I hope he doesn't throw away his chances before the last lap even starts.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it's a grandstand finish between these two as well. What drama we've seen today. The GT3 fixed series earlier for the Precision Racing League delivered. The GT3 Sprint Series is delivering a classic as well. Race leader Guillaume Levesque, on course for his 5th win in a row, has contact with a lap car and is now not going to score anything today. Andrew Waring.
Olivier's in the pits.
No, Olivier is in. He's underfueled the car by 1 lap. And in the final 2 laps of this race, we've had 2 lead changes. Diego Morales is going to go home with this one. Or is he? Because leading this race seems like a curse.
It seems like a curse. Guillaume Levesque gets taken out by Luke Davis. Dominic Olivier, with a full second of fuel more than Levesque had, somehow doesn't have enough fuel in the car. I wonder, is he going to stop here? It's possible that it could be a drive-through, but that would be so weird if he got a drive-through for 13 incident points at Spa. I don't know if that's the case here, but what is happening here to Ryan Patrick? Is Ryan Patrick out of fuel too?
Ryan Patrick is slowing down dramatically here as well. This could be a huge turning point in the championship as Andrew Harmon gets through on Kevin Norris. Up in front here, this is Andrew Waring getting through on Devon Hoovoff into the top 10 from 44th on the grid. This is position 34 on the day for the number 30. He gets into that 10th place, and while he will still lose points today, it is not as bad as it could have been. But what's happened to Ryan Patrick here? He continues to drop down the order. Is this a championship defining moment in the AM category? It very much could well be, because despite the fact that Patrick has had great results so far here this season, it's still going to hurt him, this losing points all right now. What drama we have seen late on in this race. Lead changes are happening all over the place. Championship changes happening all over the place. As McLaughlin now loses out to Waring. Let's hope McLaughlin has got enough fuel here to get to the end. Waring gets up to 9th place in the standings right now. think he will still lose 10 points, but either way, it's not as bad as it could have been. It couldn't be better here for Diego Morales. The number 23 car, Simza Esports, would not have been expecting this even 3 laps ago. But now he's coming across the line to take the checkered flag first. Diego Morales wins at Spa, with the others falling by the wayside. He comes out on top. He makes it to the flag first, and he wins by 4 seconds ahead of Vincent Trepanier, with Andrew Hartmann and Kevin Norris battling to the line over 6th position. What drama we have seen in this race. Positional changes and all sorts going on. Championship changes happening in front of our very eyes today as well.
That's one of the most insane races I think I've ever seen in PRL history. Ryan Patrick didn't run out of fuel. He had some sort of terrible drama in turn 1 that lost him like 3 seconds to Nick McLaughlin. So hopefully we can take a look back at what happened to him. But he was under power. He did still drive home in 2nd, but whatever happened at Les Sources has killed Ryan Patrick's run, and that might just be what I talked about. He might have waited too long, and whatever happened, that erased any chance he could have had at taking the lead. Drivers still finishing here. A couple of BMWs down at the bottom of the field, 26th and 27th. That's Kenny Rodriguez, and Robert Ridgway brings it home. But here's what happened to Patrick. Did he hit the wall on the inside?
Slow down.
No, he must have got a slowdown, yeah.
Slow down for Ryan Patrick. He was trying to get the best run possible out of Les Sources. Well, I'm sure he didn't mean to go that wide, but he was trying to get the best run possible. In the end, he didn't get it, and he'll be losing points today. He'll get that point for pole position, of course. He'll get it for fastest lap. Oh, no, sorry, that's going to go to McLaughlin as well, actually, in the AM category, I think. Yeah, it is. So he's not going to get that either. However, he will keep it close in the AM category. It's Diego Morales, though, in the overall standings, winning that one ahead of Vincent Trepanier. Jonathan Wazer rounding out the top 3, with Anu Genest and Micheline Green inside the top 5. Andrew Hartmann in the 3-car finished 6th ahead of Kevin Norris in their fight towards the flag. Ozzy Milway just got to the flag ahead of Andrew Waring, who is plus 35 positions on the day. Nick McLaughlin, the first of the AM drivers, rounding out your top 10. Devon Horvath managed to get between him and his main rival Ryan Patrick. Mark McDonald was 13th ahead of third-placed finisher Clayton Ham in 14th. Tommy Brisson rounds at the top 15 ahead of Ted Lowendick, one of the first Audi indeed, in the pro category at least. Ethan Tavetas in the number 1 was just ahead of Dave Menanoa, and then Caleb Learmon and Miguel Angel Fonseca round out your top 20. Brett Furman was 21st ahead of David Bust, and it was Kwok-Nin recovering from that spin ahead of Corey Precker, also recovering from a spin. Christopher Reens was rounding out the top 25, with Kenny Rodriguez in 26th ahead of Robert Ridgway, John Mulholland, Michael Bremed and Dominic Oliver rounding out your top 30. Didn't actually take the checkered flag in the end, I don't think, or might have done, but either way, he finishes a long, long way down. Alex Wright, 31st ahead of Rob Campbell, and Phil Amaro, the final driver on the lead lap. Lance Lewis and Guillaume Levesque lost 1 lap in the end. Colin McKenzie was down there with Michael Palbano and Luke Davis. They did get to the flag, but laps down. The likes of Alex Fournier, Colin Heffernan, also Alexander Breton, David Morse, EJ Nixon, and Marc-Andre Desjardins all didn't make the checkered flag. Well, what a great race that was in the end. We have now finally got confirmation that that was a speeding penalty there for Dominic Oliver, and it's cost him, sorry, not a speeding penalty, a drive-through penalty for the incident limits, I think.
Oh, it was a speeding penalty.
Oh, speeding penalty, sorry.
Stop and go for speeding in the pit lane, so disaster. I think he was just trying to race out of pit lane to keep with our friend Guillaume, and it's just ended in disaster.
Right the first time. Yeah, disaster, I'm afraid, for him there, but that's the way it's gone, unfortunately. Let's talk to those whose race went a little bit better, starting, of course, with Diego Morales, whose race could not have gone much better at all. Diego, great to have you in the commentary booth now for joining us on this victory here today. I mean, talk us through your emotions in those final 3 to 5 laps or so, because, I mean, we could barely keep up with what was going on. It was all going on around you. How were you feeling at the time?
Oh my God, I don't know what to say. I was laughing here by myself because I've never seen anything like that. I think it was yeah, a little bit of luck. I think at the beginning, I made some passes there that it was like important for me to be in the place to win the race at the end. So yeah, really happy, but I was not expecting this one.
Absolutely not. I mean, what can we expect from you in the rest of the season? We've got some great tracks coming up, some iconic ones, some challenging ones. What are you looking forward to throughout the rest of this season?
I mean, I think like the key for the rest of the season is be consistent. I've been trying to do that. Is being my goal, not like to be involved in crashes or just try to be consistent and yeah, wait for the luck. Sometimes it comes.
Absolutely, and it did today. Not that you didn't deserve this win, of course. So yeah, congratulations on that. Not taking anything away from you at all. Congratulations on the victory here tonight, and thanks very much for coming to join us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much. Diego Morales there, victorious here at Spa in the Pro category. Victorious in the AM category once again was Nick McLaughlin here today, and he joins us now. Nick, good to have you back once again, this time in the face of victory in the AM category, but it was once again a big fight with Ryan Patrick. Just talk us through that one, and whether you really believed whether you'd actually be winning by the end of that.
It's good to be back, guys. Yeah, I know it was back and forth with Ryan. I knew he had the pace here. I just tried to sit in his draft, fuel save as much as I could. I kind of figured he was doing the same on the back of Devin there. So it kind of just came down to who could get the better pit cycle. And then even then, coming out of the pits, he was right on my ass for, I don't know, the last 3-4 laps. It was anyone's race really, but it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun to watch as well. The gap in the championship now remains well below 10 points. Excuse me. It's going to be a real fight towards the end. How are you feeling going into these final 4 races with an opponent like Ryan Patrick to go up against?
Confident in our abilities. Nervous for the championship. He's a very strong driver, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a treat to have the competition so close this season.
Absolutely, it's a treat to watch as well. Congratulations on the victory here tonight, Nick. It's great to have you back once again in the commentary booth. Thanks for a chat, and yeah, we'll see you again next week.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks very much. Nick McLaughlin there, victorious in the AM category here at Spa tonight. No more podium drivers from the Pro category, but we do have Arnaud Jeunesse from 4th to join us as well, so we'll bring him in now. Welcome to the commentary booth, Arnaud. Good to have you here. Just to tell us a little bit about that race there for you. It was very, very chaotic from what we saw, especially late on, with lots of people falling by the wayside. Are you pleased with yourself for that 4th place finish?
Yeah, it was a good race for me and my teammates. I would say a big shout out to Vincent that helped me defending against Wager there. That was very, very fast. I couldn't hold him, but Vincent gave me a lifeline for a couple of laps, but in the end I couldn't do anything. And yeah, too bad for Olivier and Guillaume that were not able to finish that race. So yeah, congrats to Diego on his first win, and yeah, let's focus ahead for the next race.
Absolutely, focusing ahead. You are part of the championship leading team at the moment. Just how big of a goal is that to you and everybody around you as well? I know there's other things going on in the Drivers' Championship, for example, and lots of other things going on. However, just how much of a goal is that for the final 4 races?
Well, of course, we're going for it. I mean, having Guillaume and Vincent in my team, I'm more the third wheel, if I can say that. And unfortunately, I had to miss 2 rounds for gear issues and vacation. But yeah, mainly I'm very happy where we at the championship, and yeah, we'll fight to the end. But yeah, I guess that we have a lot of chances of bringing that one home. But yeah, a big shout out to Vincent and Guillaume. That those guys are so fast, and we're having a lot of fun with the other the purple team as well. We've just done the 24 hours together in the same split, so it's all about having fun for sure. And this is being next to the podium is a bigger bonus for us. So yeah, it's very a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's been great to watch you once again out there tonight, and a great finish for you. 4th place. Congratulations on that, and thanks very much for coming to join us.
Yeah, thank you guys. That's fun.
Thanks very much there. Orange Dinesh, 4th place here today at Spa. Now, Joey, we've got to go back to the AM category once again. Ryan Patrick now going to join us from 2nd place.
Yeah, one more chat here. Ryan Patrick, welcome to the booth. I'm sure you're slightly disappointed at the end of that race. What happened there on the final lap? Ryan Patrick, do you have a copy? If you're not aware, you are muted, so you might want to unmute if you are here. Looks like no Ryan Patrick. That's unfortunate, but hopefully we can talk to Ryan Patrick next week or in the coming weeks. I don't know. Do we want to take one of our other AM finishers? We want to take Corey Precker, the unfortunate Corey Precker, I should say, who finished 7th. But I think that's all for interviews tonight. I think we've ran out of people.
We have run out of people, and or people are not there, so yeah, unfortunate. Really, but hopefully, yeah, as you say, hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to Ryan Patrick at some point in the near future. I'm sure we will, because I'm sure he'll be winning or getting close to winning once again very soon in the AM category there. Of course, one last thing to tell you about is the races coming up, and the race coming up next week, 2nd of August, same time, same place, here on RaceSpotTV. It's the Precision Racing League GT3 Fixed and Sprint Series races from Sandown International Raceway in Australia. Our first and only trip over to the Oceania region, and we're going to enjoy it very much indeed. A new track to iRacing, Joey, for us all to enjoy, and wow, what a show that's going to be.
We got GT4s there on Monday, and we've got GT3s there on Tuesday, and I hope and pray that drivers have purchased this track. I hope we get a big field, because a big field is what this little track needs. It'll be crazy. And I really hope that every single driver is there next week. I'm looking directly at you. You can't see me, but buy Sandown. If you haven't bought it already, buy it.
Yeah, let's see everybody there as well. Make sure you join us for those broadcasts. Are going to be absolutely fantastic indeed. As we have had here tonight, Spa is once again delivered for us here in the Precision Racing League. That's just about it from us here at RaceSpotTV. Make sure you join us in a week's time. Make sure you join us throughout the week as well. It's trucks tomorrow night here on RaceSpotTV in the Precision Racing League. We've got open wheelers coming up the day after that as well. Plenty of racing coming up here for the remainder of the week here on RaceSpotTV, so make sure you stay tuned on all of the socials and stay subscribed on YouTube and everything in between as well to keep abreast of everything. For now though, that is pretty much it from us. My name's been Ewan O'Leary. I've been alongside Joey Tebben, and Tyler Maxson has been behind the cameras tonight. But until we see you again for the GT3 Fixed and Sprint Series in 1 week's time, it's goodbye for now.
Wow.